2 would be terrific. Look, we're going to do our best. Felice and I talked last night. She'll be here soon. Some of this shit is depressing, and we're going to do our very best to keep a positive energy as we deal with the world's dumbest Congress. Just the dumbest people ever to be involved in government. And for whatever reason, Donald Trump. They all showed up at the same time. They're just showing up at Congress every day. It's like take your kid to work day, except for the kids are doing all the work. And most of the work is being done by just shouting nonsense that they don't understand. Bang, bang, Niner gang. It's Super Bowl week. I hate to do this to the Swifties, but there's just too many things in the Niners' favor. I think every day that this gets a little closer, I feel more and more confident that the Niners are going to take care of business. I may even get in on that deep state shit, that the conspiracy theories about Taylor Swift, Pfizer, and Bud Light. What else?
Hey,
what else does she do?
What are you rambling about?
Bang, bang, Niner gang, Felice.
Oh, God.
Remember that? Oh, that's right. You don't like the Niners very much.
It's not. I mean, I just had to watch. What? It's not even funny. It's
horrible. A little funny to me. It's not funny to you because you're.
Well, I thought today was going to be the most depressing day.
Turns out. We've got some good news this morning, didn't we?
It's not that depressing. Guys, it's CoinCot. We're boycotting gifts. That's why they're turned off, in case anyone has any confusion about that. I heard you saying tap the screen. So yeah, boycotting gifts. It's hard to get to the For You page. So we need some tapping to go on to get to the For You page. And if you want to donate to us, just use one of these links or the tip jar on your page, right? Is PayPal?
Yes, just the tip jar.
Yes, and we split any of your donations to us. We very much appreciate it. Believe me, every donation is appreciated. I need
less brightness, but I don't want to.
I know, I feel
actually, I'm going to put on the Trump filter today. We're going Trump filter today.
Okay, I'll do. I think I have one too.
Let's see if you can do. Yeah, we're going Trump filter today. That's right, folks. Just like Melania when she sees Donald Trump, our gifts are turned off. It's a turned off joke.
That's
right
funny.
Off the top of right up. That's funny. Thank you.
Pragmatics, I made a TikTok and use your comment right now. That's why I was late. I have something to say. You probably haven't seen this. I had to post 2 extra TikToks because I just saw margarine. I can't. I mean, it's like, how every time can she shock me? You know, it's like, how can she be a worse person than she actually is? But she has been named, and it's just wild. I didn't think it was true, but then I was watching C-SPAN. Nope. She's in, like, you know, the tunnel that they, you know, in Capitol Hill, they're always, like, they all come out of and get interviewed and stuff.
The Comet Pizza tunnel.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So she just got stopped and interviewed. Hold on, let me see if I have the clips on this phone. And she's insane. Like, she's an impeachment manager in the Mayorkas impeachment. If you don't know, there's the debate on the House floor today, and then the impeachment vote is today. Margarine gets to be an impeachment manager. And we can get into this later, but last night, Jim McGovern tore up Mark Green in the Rules Committee, who's the chairman of Homeland Security, and like brought out that like Margarine said, you know, that by November 30th, she had been promised behind closed doors that Mayorkas was going to be impeached, you know, before the investigation and the evidence.
Yeah.
Like, this whole thing is an absolute sham. Which we know. Margarine tried to impeach him on day one before anyone had done anything.
Do you think the fact, like, obviously this was a favor. This was something that old Margarine really wanted, and she used whatever favor she had to call in to be the impeachment manager. But do you think there's Republicans?
She said it's her just dessert or something like that. Like, she literally says and is quoted, like Jim McGovern quotes her and says that Margarine said, and he's like, quote, it's like your just dessert, and it's what she was promised for voting for the debt ceiling bill.
Yeah. Great. For what's she gonna do? What is she gonna bring? What does she bring to the table as an impeachment manager? If you guys remember, if you go watch the other impeachments, these were
they're usually lawyers. Yeah, these are lawyers. That
not the lady that like went to Congress before she was elected and like got drunk, went to Congress and was yelling through AOC's mail slot. Like, where are you, AOC? Where are you? That's the same person. The same person who has filed articles of impeachment like every day for 3 years on somebody. Like, I honest to God, do you think there's a shot in hell that if somebody asked Marjorie to explain what impeachment is, that she could?
Oh, no.
No chance. Right?
I know. And it's so, and Lib Wrangler made a great point. She did go to college, which shocks me every single day. I had to spend a whole day trying to disprove. And she is like,
I was just looking this up. We're on the same page. I'm like, there's no way she has a degree
from Go Dogs, University of Georgia. It's a real thing. And her parents have like a commercial real estate. Is that what it is? Or they're a commercial contracting. Yeah, they like build either homes or build commercial buildings. And she, like, I'm pretty sure took over that business. It just makes no sense how she has a degree in business. How? Yeah. What happened? Did she have a head injury? Like,
no, look, I can't imagine there's some Georgia people here, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just saying she graduated.
There's good people in Georgia. Georgia's turning purple. It's not about...
There's good people on both sides of Georgia.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, to me, actually, I consider, this is going to sound crazy, but I kind of consider Georgia like our sister state with Arizona.
I was just going to say, I'm just saying, 1996, a degree from Georgia, it's possible that wasn't that. Look, it's not actually hard to get a degree.
It's not.
I didn't do anything in college. I barely showed up.
I don't even remember college, so no. I was playing volleyball. Actually, I was pretty like on schedule. But no, college is just about, it's preparing you for the workforce, which is like, hey, every day you just have to go sit somewhere. You're gonna want to die, and you have to do it anyways. And that's what college is. It's just proving that you can sit somewhere for every day for like 4 years, and it's like, see, if you can do this, then you can have a job.
It prepares you for Congress, that's for sure.
It prepares. Do you want to hear margarine threatening people?
I absolutely want to hear margarine threatening people. That's all I want to hear.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Okay, I'm sorry to ruin everyone's morning.
Good point by Chris Erickson. The Olympics in Atlanta were bombed while margarine was there. That's a good point.
Chris Erickson's my friend on TikTok. Hi, Chris.
That is an excellent point, Chris Erickson. Have we investigated that?
He says several things I like. What?
Have we investigated that? How come every time Marge is around there's pipe bombs?
Did you? And we didn't even go over it, and I deleted them because the weekend, like there was hundreds of things in the outline. But did you happen to see our suspected P bomber, Ivan Rakin? Yeah.
Which was that on Friday or Thursday?
He's Alex Jones' friend. He was on InfoWars saying insane things.
I know who he is. I still have the outlines, so I was going to see if you remembered what day it was.
Oh yeah, it's just no, I don't remember what it's like. It's something with Alex. It's Alex. It's him. It's his name probably first.
Okay.
But yeah, he was making I have the outline too. I just meant I had the clips on my phone and I just deleted them because I have like 5 terabytes because I'm competing with Eric for the most videos, for the most political videos, so that Well, that's how you can tell if you're dedicated to politics, by the most videos you have saved on your phone. I
was recently at Best Buy, though, and I did not see any of your movies there. So I'm not trying to take Eric's side, but it appears that he's got a leg up there on you.
What does he have now? I might have blocked this out.
He's like, did you have a video in 49 Best Buys?
Oh my God, he did say that. That was one of the best parts that I forgot. Yeah. Don't ever let me forget that. Anytime someone's like, I had a product in 16 Circle K's, and it's like, what?
He just walked
Say,
around
what
Best
now?
Buy and like dropped them off.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, I know it was
like
49.
selling them outside or
I
something.
dropped them off myself, and I kept the 50th one for myself.
Okay. Anyway, so here's Margarine screaming at people like a maniac. Hold on.
Attention to what the American people will think of them if they don't vote to impeach America today.
You're officially named one of the impeachment managers coming up for a potential Senate trial. What's your game plan? What will be the message you'll want to deliver over there?
Well, the first thing we need to do is impeach Secretary Mayorkas on the House floor today. We'll be having a debate later today and then holding a floor vote. This is historic, but it's extremely important. Secretary Mayorkas has willfully broken his oath of office, and he has set up procedures using the authority that he was given to cause the illegal invasion of the United States of America. It's the number one issue across the country to Americans, and either Democrats today...
This is not the number one issue to Americans.
Of this invasion, 10 million crossing our border, 300 Americans dying every single day, murder, rape, crime, attacks by illegal aliens, and all Americans being forced to pay for it all. Democrats are either going to defend that and claim that to be their policies by not voting to impeach Mayorkas, or they'll do the right thing and vote to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. We need to see what happens on the House floor today, and then I'm willing to go stand by what we have done in the homeland. We've investigated this for months and months.
They've investigated this.
Facts do not lie, and the American people aren't fooled by the smoke and mirrors up here in Washington. I urge my colleagues to grow some courage today.
To grow some courage.
And vote to impeach Mayorkas.
Mr. McClintock said that he's not going to impeach President.
Okay, so then this part, so Tom McClintock and Ken Buck are no's. So now
Can we just real quick before we move
you
on?
want to? Yeah, I know the first 2 minutes are rough. That's what I was making TikToks about.
What the fuck is she talking about? I can't figure it out.
No logic.
Did she say Democrats would either have to admit that they like caused and wanted this, or impeach Mayorkas? Is that what she said? Those were the only two options. They either have to admit it. Like, does Marjorie Taylor Greene? I gotta give her credit.
We've investigated. It's case closed.
It's a damn shame that Marjorie
and the federal
it's a damn shame
laws?
she looks like she got beat up by a frying pan, because Marjorie Taylor Greene would be my type. The amount of confidence that she exudes, being like not even saying sentences that make sense, and she says it with such confidence. Like it's kind of admirable. How,
oh my God, let me say something really quick before I forget. This is about yesterday, how I was talking about how, you and I can work together and it's not because we're dating or whatever. Well, I was thinking about this last night, and like, you know how, like, why we're not dating? It's because for the first time ever in my life, I'm too sane to date you, and you're too sane to date me, because we both date, people that are like far out there. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll be honest. The only time I've ever thought about it was when you were wandering the streets in the middle of the night.
I know, that was the most you ever liked me. That was the most you ever liked me.
She's moving in the right direction.
With the unhoused. Yeah. No, but it's true. It's like we're both too normal for each other. One day, you'll meet Lauren Boebert. Don't worry.
I'm gonna fix her.
We'll find her at America Fest next year. We should start planning now.
Next year, I think America Fest is for sure going to be at like a Super 8. They're running out of people.
No, Charlie Kirk. So what I don't get about Turning Point, I originally thought like a past. So that's not like connected to like, I don't know what, like an evangelical church or something. Like, did Charlie Kirk start Turning Point USA, or did Turning Point USA appoint Charlie Kirk?
No, I'm pretty sure he started it.
God. So there's no way to oust him for like they got to do something about him. He's a complete mess. Well,
that's all it takes. Like, Republicans just saw him. They're like, oh, he's got a big head. Got to be a big brain in there. Look how big his head is, guys. That's the biggest brain we've ever seen. Sign him up. And then he just sucks. He's just not
I can't believe he lives
it.
in Phoenix. Like, one day we're going to see him somewhere. I will lose my mind.
I bet when Charlie Kirk I bet when Charlie Kirk, like, if he ever walks around shirtless in the sun, I bet he gets the craziest tan lines because his head is just creating these massive
the
shadows
weird angles.
all over his body.
You're so mean. That's so mean. He also
I'm sorry for picking on the white nationalist.
I'm the one that started.
I'll
the
be nicer
hashtag.
about the white nationalist.
I know the white nationalist that hates women. I know. I don't know
orange
why
on a
even
toothpick.
can't female and African American pilots can't. I can't even. I know. Why am I? I'm too nice sometimes. I don't know why I do that. I did start the hashtag Charlie Kirk has horse teeth.
He shows up. You know, they have that balloon festival every year. Charlie Kirk just shows up as the Turning Point hot air balloon. They're just like, look at that one. It's already up. So they didn't even have to.
There are hot air balloons in the air yesterday. Arizona's a big hot air balloon state.
That's right.
Have you ever been in one?
No. Why? Listen, why would
you don't want to be in a basket attached to a balloon?
Like it's a wicker basket, and you're like, you know what would be really good?
It's like a picnic basket.
I do not understand. I've seen the videos of people like. There's a video of a lady that like gets in, and she's so excited, and then they're like undoing the ropes, and it gets away. Like the hot air balloon just gets away from her.
Oh no, I can't be doing that.
What do you call it? A pilot? What do you?
I don't. Operator.
A torch bearer? I don't know what you call.
I don't know. But Charlie Kirk probably doesn't want.
Oh no! And this lady just flies away. I'm like, I'll never get in a hot air balloon ever, ever, ever. What? Okay. And once you're up there, you just get.
I know what to really get you. Slow? Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, I mean, I do know. I have been in one. But it was a crisis. I really don't even remember because it was so traumatic. Right. Someone took me on a date. Yeah, it was. I didn't want to be on the date, and I didn't want to be in the hot air balloon.
That is a risky date. A hot air balloon.
Well, yeah, they give you I think there was wine. I don't remember, but
good. Yeah, at least.
So imagine you're on a date, but then there's a third person there, just standing there. Yeah, operating the balloon.
How are you guys?
Yeah, this is super romantic.
I would just make eye contact with the dates the whole time. I'd stare right at them and just pull my.
I know.
Not a word.
Come here often?
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. But our ADD has taken over. I'm so glad we're in a better mood today, though.
I'm not letting these turds keep me down.
Don't let them win. Do not let them. After Laura Ingram's show yesterday, I almost had to give up. What is Laura Ingram doing? She's getting more militant. She's getting scary.
Yeah, I mean, they're all just fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
And even the ones that are smart are like, oh no, my audience is fucking stupid, so I have to match their energy.
Let me play the last minute of Margarine acting insane. The last minute of it is when she starts, doing what she does best, threatening people that if they don't vote to impeach Mayorkas,
It's when her prepared statement ends and you get the real Marge.
She's whipping the votes.
He said it would unconstitutionally expand impeachment. What's your reaction to that?
Well, my reaction is clearly he's not paying attention to the American people, and he's failing his oath of office. That's what I would say. I would say he needs to grow some courage and read the room. The room is our country, and the American people are fed up
with
millions of people abusing our laws, Mayorkas breaking the law and allowing millions of people to invade. He needs to do the right thing, and I would urge all of my colleagues to do the right thing. Grow some courage and actually do something for once in this Congress.
This idiot, she's Michael Scott minus the charisma. She has.
How dare she tell people to do something for once? No, wait, it gets worse.
You need to read the room, and the room is America. The United Room of America. Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
The room is America. That was a great line. The room is America.
Enough support for this to pass out of the House?
My understanding is I think we have the votes, but we will certainly see. We'll have the debate on the floor later today, and hopefully we'll pass impeachment.
And are you concerned at all with the Senate being controlled by the Democrats? Do you think it'll make it out of the Senate?
Well, I think the Senate just got a hard smackdown by the American people with the failure of their border surrender deal that they
Excuse me, hold on.
Border surrender deal. I can't be in this. I can't. This is not the same reality I live in.
The Senate got a smackdown from the American people. What the fuck is she talking about? They all agreed, and the American people
read
were like,
the room.
Yay!
Read the room. Read the room, Jay.
That's right. Read the room. The America room.
The room is America.
What did the American people do to smack down the Senate?
This is her version of reality. Like, this is what she thinks is going on. Like, it doesn't even make any sense.
It's just
and
like
there's a 2-person Republican majority. That's why they're asking. They're saying McClintock and Ken Buck are a no. Are you going to get this through?
Well, we have the votes. That's what I've been told. No, no, you don't. Nobody
I
tells
really
you
hope
anything.
for once could a moderate Republican like just stand up and stand for something.
Why don't we? Here's what I'd like to see in Congress. I would like to see soundproof booths for everybody. And just put Marge in one and tell her mic's on. Just, it's on, Marge. It's on. Don't worry. Everybody hears you. And just
They should
let her
have
sit
secret
over there
ballot votes.
and babble. Like, this is gonna... Listen, this will be must-watch TV. The amount of clips... Like, you're not going to have time to make the amount of clips...
I know, they're coming out of this.
Who's going to be on,
there's
on
gonna
the
be
opposite
hundreds.
side? Goldman?
Yeah.
Goldman
The
is
real
going
lawyers.
to, and he already doesn't like her, and he has no problem calling her stupid. This will be 3
and
weeks.
Joe Neguse, like in the rules,
Yeah.
like all these are they all worked on Trump's impeachment. Like a lot of like pretty much all the impeachment, the lawyers that worked on Trump's impeachments are now in the House for the Democrats.
Yeah, is that how you say that? It's Neguse.
Neguse, yeah.
Neguse, okay.
And it's just a great example of like, he's a lawyer, worked on Trump's impeachment, a genius, like the youngest person in the Rules Committee, which the Rules Committee is where all the power is. He's like the heir, Jim McGovern's like number 2. And he's from the 2nd district of Colorado. It just shows what one district difference makes. You know, we got Lauren in the 3rd district, doesn't have a clue, never has helped anyone do anything in their lives. The Joe Neguse in the 2nd district.
I gotta be honest.
Is that Boulder?
Well, I just don't like Goose. I don't like Goose. I don't like Geese.
It's Goose.
Oh, it's Goose. Okay.
Joe Neguse.
It's a little close. That sounds like
I want a
somebody
Goose
who's
sweatshirt,
comfortable.
t-shirt. Actually, t-shirt. Pretty soon it's going to be too hot to wear. I was going to say, I was not that excited about your Goose sweatshirt yesterday because, I'm just exhausted, but I actually really do like it. Sorry, didn't get excited about it.
That hurt my feelings.
But we
a
should
little.
change the font or make it more readable.
Yeah, I'll change. Listen, I'm going to put up a design. I'm going to make a new one. And if somebody wants those Geese sweatshirts, I'll get them ordered.
We should all get them.
I'm actually, this sweatshirt that came from Canva, I'm a huge fan of it. You know how sweatshirts, at least for me, I'm bigger and like broader than. Shut up. So clothes are never long enough for me. It's not that, or shirts aren't.
I have a very long torso.
I don't know what I have, but they're never long enough. And these sweatshirts are long, and then they give you like a little bum hug. I got a big old bum too, so that pushes the sweatshirt up. Unless it goes all, I can wrap that around the lower ends of my cheeks, and it stays there. It's
Hear
a really
that, ladies?
delightful. I'm a fan.
Okay. No, I know what you mean. A good sweatshirt fit is hard to find.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of these. So, anyways, I'll fix the font. I'll throw that up. But you can get to your stuff now. Politics.
I was just looking. What happened with 14? Did you put that there?
Yeah,
Why?
accidentally.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay, can I delete that?
I did it.
Okay. I was like,
Sorry.
why is this? You mess up the whole outline, by the way. Like, there's
all the time.
articles missing. Yeah, okay. I'm just... I
don't do it on purpose, if that's helpful.
No, that's totally... Oh, I know. There's something really weird with the outlines when you click on things. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Should we talk about Trump before we have to... We'll talk about Marjorie more later.
Yeah, let's talk about old Donnie.
Oh, Donald. There's a paragraph I want to read in this Washington Post article that I think it's a really good summary. So as we all know, it's a great Tuesday morning for us. We should check True Social because I'm sure Trump's yelling things. Is the gag orders back in place in the jail? Oh, wait, he can disparage Chutkin, I think, still, huh? Yeah. So anyways, Trump has no immunity from January 6th prosecution, and that was ruled on unanimously, as we all knew. It's nice to affirm that, we're not all crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was very worried about this ruling And that it is hard to, like, when the ruling is crazy, it's hard to look yourself in the eye and be like, maybe it's me. I was a little nervous about that.
Well, like, yeah, yesterday I was having one of those days where I'm just like, this is so much, it's like insurmountable. I don't know if I'm making a difference. But it's just like all those times we just have to weather them because we are fighting for, you know, democracy.
Sanity?
Okay,
I don't know what we're doing.
I know, sanity.
Anymore.
A number of things that are important, though. Okay. So let's tap the screen and I will read this is a quote from the Washington Post article about this. This is actually from the text of the decision. Quote, "We cannot accept former President Trump's claim that a president has unbounded authority to commit crimes that would neutralize the most fundamental check on executive power, the recognition of implementation of election results," the 3-panel of judges wrote, "nor can we sanction his apparent contention that the executive has carte blanche to violate the rights of individual citizens to vote and to have their votes counted." It's just
unanimous, right? Did we cover that? Unanimous.
Yes, unanimous.
Decision.
Now the next step.
And when did this come out? It like
this morning.
11. Oh, it was published at 10 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, this was an easy decision for these folks. This was a very easy decision for the courts.
Yeah, and it's so great. I'm just reading. Yeah, so the next step, guys, they could ask for like en banc. That's French, but it basically means because when you appeal something, you first get 3 judges. And this is, if you watch the oral arguments, it's 3 judges. It's a unanimous 3 judges. So he can apply to now have all of the federal appeals judges. That's called en banc, like all of them review it at the same time, or it can go to the Supreme Court, depending on what happens.
En banc is what I do when I meet French people. I en banc them on the head. I don't like the French. I don't like geese. I certainly don't like French Canadians. Sorry for my Canadian friends up there. I don't trust your accent. I don't know what to tell you about that.
Hopefully they do deny en banc and just move to the Supreme Court. Because, like, what is the good? Like, we're like, yay, like, we're not crazy. But why this is good for Donald Trump is it's working, right? The March 4th trial has been pushed back. If now there's oral arguments en banc in front of all the federal judges, that's another step that's going to take. We don't know how long.
We should see a date on March 4th now coming up, right? We should get some clarity on that.
Well, no, it's pushed until this is resolved. Like, this has to be resolved through the Supreme Court. And then
I think the Supreme Court's going to hear why would the Supreme Court?
Well, I hope,
hear this?
Well, Thomas should recuse, and the rest of them should refuse to hear it. Like,
it's a unanimous decision, and it's the most simple decision. The question is, can the president commit any crime he wants? No, obviously
I hope the Supreme Court says no, we're not hearing it. I hope so, but depends on Leonard Leo.
I just imagine they'll get it done soon. I can't imagine that. I think the Supreme Court does want to move this along. I would imagine that the Supreme Court quickly would say, "We're going to not hear this."
Well, okay, that would be what we want, but we haven't necessarily gotten what we want.
I think this is how jaded we are. Yeah, like, this is the easiest decision of all time.
I'm going to expect the worst and be disappointed. You can think whatever you want. But, like, I'm of the opinion you never know. Like, I was just listening, like, this is in the outline somewhere, but, like, George Conway was talking and I was thinking, this is so true. Like, George Conway joined, I think, the Midas Touch Network. Like, his podcast is part of it now. And he was talking, he always speaks, like, so lackadaisically, but he's talking about such important things. But he was making such a great point that, like, we need to be watching, talking about, and making videos, talking on lives about whatever is going on in Florida with the Mar-a-Lago docks case. Because of all the focus on all these other trials, it's like she's able to hide away down there and delay for him. And that should be our slam dunk ruling. And, like, we should all focus more on that and put more pressure on her and take a look at what she's doing.
Yeah, she's the one judge that seems to defy logic every time. Like, everybody agrees that she's obstructing. I've never heard anybody. I've never heard right or left. I've never heard anybody say that what she's doing is the right move. Like, she's questioned by everybody with every single move. It's very clear that Judge Cannon has no problem. I don't know how she'll rule, but anytime she has the opportunity to kick the can down the road, she's going to do it.
Yeah, and she's doing it, and because we're all focused on other trials, I think we're all letting it go, like, we should, I totally agree with George Conway. It just needs to be focused.
Ironically, if this was reversed, every right-wing creator on Earth would be talking about Judge Cannon as a DEI hire, right? This is what happens with DEI. If this was her kicking the can down the road for Biden, that's exactly what this would be. Oh, she's an incompetent judge, DEI. And I'm pretty sure, by the way, she had virtually no experience as a judge, right?
Yes, she had only tried like 9 cases or something.
Yeah.
She had no business being appointed. Like, she had no trial experience and was appointed as a federal judge, and certainly no experience with classified documents and like the function of these types of trials. Like, it's madness. And like, of all the judges in the world, this is our life. But yeah, I think it's always good. Like, those I try to read the court filings in that case, but they're very confusing and there's a lot redacted. So I just need to get back into it. Thanks, George Conway, for reminding me.
Hey, shout out to George Conway, though. He looks great.
He's the man.
He looks like he's looks like he's taking care of his health a little more. I think that post-divorce
I think he's
glow.
getting angry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's getting fired up to like he is starting to join like the fight for Trump. Like, we didn't go over it, but when he had did you see when he had E. Jean Carroll's lawyer on, and she was describing how Trump like wouldn't give them lunch at Mar-a-Lago?
And
threw a bunch of papers at her.
Yeah, if you don't know this story, basically, like, when you have a deposition, usually the attorneys where they're hosting it will provide lunch. So as they're getting ready,
the attorneys agreed to.
Well, yeah, so they're getting ready to go to lunch, and they're like, all right, let's take a lunch break. And Trump says to the other attorneys, he says, well, where are you guys going to eat? And they're like, oh, well, your attorney, Alina Habba, graciously offered to provide lunch for us. And Trump slammed down and threw his papers and stormed out of the room. Like, that's the guy we're dealing with here. He had this master plan that he was going to make them be hungry. And his attorney, who sucks, accidentally was nice for a second, and that infuriated him. Imagine that. Imagine being so angry you storm out of the room because your attorney did something nice for another attorney. That's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. The temper tantrums by this man are unparalleled. You would not allow this in your life. Any MAGA person, it doesn't matter. You would not allow this person in your life.
Nobody would. And
which is why he has no friends.
So what? Which is the thing. MAGA, come up and defend Orange Jesus. We're here. As I have to just say it, as Midas Touch calls him, Pervert Hoover.
Wait a minute. How did I miss that one?
I didn't even hear it from Midas Touch. I saw a tweet where someone else was saying it and was like, I have to give credit to Midas Touch. So I was like, Pervert Hoover is the nest.
And by the way, that's because Donald Trump is on record saying he doesn't want to be Herbert Hoover.
That's why they're saying it.
Yeah,
that's where that comes from, Jay.
I was telling the audience.
Yesterday, Biden's like,
nerd.
Too sorry, you are Herbert Hoover. Like, you've already it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Biden.
Not everybody spends their life hating themselves digging through Twitter clips like us. Okay, some people just live regular happy lives. They may not have heard that.
That's a good point. That's a very good. I know. I assume a lot, like the weird things I know about. Okay,
hey,
so
while you're pulling that up, guys, if you could just help us out with the likes, because we're participating in CoinCot.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, go to Mr. Jones' page. I think actually Whisper put one up the other day too. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. But because we're not accepting gifts, we do have those options if you want to gift. But more importantly, our traffic will be throttled. TikTok and rightfully so, is they're going to push lives where they make money. And because GIFs are taken down, TikTok isn't making money off of our live or anybody that's participating in CoinCod. So they will not be directing traffic at us. So if you can do whatever you can to like and share to try and drive traffic, that would be wonderful. We'd love to have some conversations. We'd love to talk about the border. We'd love to talk about how Trump's not allowed to break the law, anything. But if you could smash my face with those fingers, that would be terrific.
That's what she said. If you, and also we're accepting donations, and I was going to say, write us a funny message, and we'll read them. I think it's fun. So if you do donate to us, please include some sort of funny message for me. Whatever. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing. That was your worst "that's what she said" joke.
I know.
Smash my face with your fingers. What's that made?
I don't know.
You're into some weird
I'm
shit.
into weird stuff. Don't kink shame.
Sorry, you're right. I apologize.
Yeah, that's
on me.
so rude. What the...
I'm just pulling up the app so that if people send
it's like, so should we move? Let's see here. Okay.
Thank you, Shirley Barnes. Appreciate them.
Well, do you want to talk about, and I'll find the clip while we talk about it, but I mean, I'm sure, I don't know if everyone's heard, but this bill, right? It's the border bill, if we want to call it that.
I haven't heard anything about it. Is this news?
I mean, it's like an all-out civil war about this bill. I just can't believe watching the Republicans just trash anyone who admits the truth about it. Being on Twitter for like 10 hours yesterday was scary. It was a war zone.
It's unbelievable the type of arguments that they're making too. Like there's somebody named I think it's something Scuba responded to one of my tweets, and they've been breaking down the border bill. They said that it's the two problems he has with the border bill is it's unconstitutional and takes away states' rights. I'm like, where did you get either of those two ideas? Where did you get the idea that a border bill is unconstitutional and that it eliminates states' rights? I have no idea. Like, usually I can decipher what the fuck they're talking about, but I can't even figure out these arguments. And it's not a cohesive message. One thing Republicans have not done well because they can't, because it doesn't make any sense, is they are not delivering a coherent message on why this bill is a problem. They can't. They've all said their most coherent point is we don't need a bill, but they're the same people who introduced a bill, so it doesn't make sense. They have no real messaging to go along with this rejection of the bill. It'll be interesting to see if they can find some.
Is that Trump has, gone after Langford and said that he's an idiot, and that it comes out, right, that Trump endorsed Langford, and then they print his, endorsement of Langford. And literally Trump's endorsement of Langford says he's tough on the border, which is hilarious. The guy who's known for being tough on the border and negotiated one of the most stringent, terrifying border bills. The more I read of that border bill, it's really terrifying and not in any way favorable to the Democrats or to my personal values.
Yeah, there's a reason they chose James Lankford. They didn't choose him because he's a moderate, because he's well liked. James Lankford wasn't even a popular person in the Senate. James Lankford was chosen by Mitch McConnell because he's ultra conservative, and Mitch McConnell knew he would draw hard lines. And so then, because Mitch was going to lose in that debate, but James Lankford would hold the line, and he did. For everything we can say about this border bill and what it will and won't do, this is a conservative border bill. And I was thinking about this last night because, okay, we've said before that, sometimes the Conservative Party, when it's useful, it's when it acts as the brakes, right? There are times, this is true, there are times as progressives we are too progressive. We maybe see the glass as too half full, 3/4 of the way full. And we want to see the best in everybody. And it's true that our messaging wasn't in line with maybe what was happening at the border. It's true that maybe we thought the crisis would end a little quicker and wouldn't get worse, and it didn't. It did get progressively worse. It's a good bill, and this should be a massive win for conservatives. It should be. This should be a massive win. You have the most conservative bill that you ever could have authored, but because Donald Trump is such a petty little bitch, he thinks that this is going to help Biden so he can't campaign. I think Donald Trump's wrong about that. I think Donald Trump should say, this is a great border bill. Look at me. I'm not even the president, and I got a bipartisan bill pushed through. That's all he had to do. He could have taken that route. He could have been like, look, nothing was getting done, and I pushed the Republicans to work with the Democrats, and look at this amazing bill we got pushed through because of me. Now, it wouldn't have been true, but he could say it, but he can't. He just can't do that. He can't give the Democrats anything. He can't even speak of bipartisanship. Everything has to be his way. This was an opportunity for Republicans, and it just goes to show time and time again that you hooked your wagon to the wrong fucking horse. Your horse is blind. Okay? Your horse is deaf and blind, and you're like, fucking lead us, deaf, blind horse. Let's go. This was your opportunity, Republicans. This was your opportunity to change the perception of Republicans and maybe give yourself a boost in 2024. And instead, you're like, praise Orange Jesus. He'll lead us to the promised land.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Listen to this clip with Jake Tapper and James Langford. Because, Jake Tapper is always...
There's a claim being circulated on Twitter or X by Elon Musk, who posted, quote, the long-term goal of the so-called border security bill is enabling illegals to vote. It will do the total opposite of securing the border, unquote. Now, I know that Elon Musk is not an expert on illegal immigration or the border, but he has a huge megaphone.
He does.
Explain what he's talking about here. Is he wrong?
Well, I think he needs to go back to doing the 2 million Teslas that are currently being recalled right now to be able to focus in on that. No, it's not focused on trying to be able to get more illegals to vote. That's absurd in the process. It is against the law for anyone that is not a citizen of the United States to be able to vote in the United States in any federal election. That remains so. Obviously, we're not dealing with that.
Langford is well-spoken. I mean, I don't agree. Like, he's crazy, he's conservative and scary on many levels, but well-spoken and stayed pretty calm. Jake Tapper also asked him about, he's like, well, Trump endorsed you. Why is he doing this to you? Why is he dragging you now? And he's like, I can't think of any reason except for I'm telling the truth.
Well, it's interesting to see what happens when MAGA comes up against Donald Trump. When they do their job and they all of a sudden are blasted by Donald Trump. And it's always interesting to see how quickly they're willing to turn on MAGA heroes like Elon Musk. Like they will suckle at the teat of Donald Trump all day long. But then when they find themselves in his crosshairs, it's really interesting. This is a person who is very effective for Republicans. This is a talented legislature. This is a obviously talented negotiator. He was negotiating against like the best the Democrats had to offer. And he did well. He won the negotiation, clearly. And here he is, now he's a detriment to Republicans. He's going to be primaried. He's probably going to lose his job. That's why you see the people taking up the mantle for Republicans are people like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That nobody's willing to step out and be a mouthpiece because they realize that at some point they're going to have to lie. They're going to have to change the truth. They're going to have to do something corrupt. And not everybody's willing to do that. Some people are going to continue to stand up for what they believe. Not everybody is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I know. And she's, thank God, everyone is Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here, listen here. I found
By the way, breaking news. She's currently introducing this fucking moron introduces more resolutions. She's introducing a resolution saying President Trump didn't engage in insurrection.
I was listening and I can't remember. I don't know where the clip is or if I could find it, but I think it's a Jim McGovern clip. And he was saying that like margarine, as of yesterday, has brought 20 things to the floor and like 11 of them are censures.
What is this? What does this resolution do? I have no idea. What is this? She's introducing a resolution that says Trump didn't engage in insurrection.
Send me the link.
Then what happens? What happens at the end of this? She introduces it, they vote on it, They agree or disagree. Let's just
this is the ceremonial thing that Trump has always asked them to do. This is not the first time she's done that. She wants them. It's like ceremonially, it means nothing, but essentially then Trump's going to say, I was unimpeached.
I just threw it at the bottom of the list there because
okay, cool.
It's live right now. But that's exactly what it is. It's all ceremonial. This is literally nothing. Like, this is not what Congress is meant to do. This is just a press conference they're having, and she's just screaming things. Absolutely. But yeah, Trump has asked them to do this before. This is not the first time I've heard of it. Like, he wants to essentially be like ceremonially unimpeached. Yeah, it's not a thing. He still doesn't understand what impeach means, but like, either does America. Most of America thinks impeached means that you were tried and found guilty. You know, people don't. Impeach just means you move to a trial. It doesn't mean anything. Well, it's them scrambling. I think Eli said this in the Discord, and I'll paraphrase it, but like, Trump really did overplay that immunity card. He's been campaigning on, I get total immunity. Instead of campaigning on, here's the defense for the crimes I committed, he campaigned on, I get total immunity. Now that's shot down unanimously. I know, and they're loudly yelling over that news. Do you know what I'm saying? This is marketing 101. Screaming into the void about nothingness. See, they're trying to say he's innocent. Like, that court just ruled he doesn't have immunity, and they're like, look over here. Like, we're unimpeaching Trump. Look, this is what we should be doing as liberals. For those of you who jump in lives, for those of you who see opposition, for those of you who are in the comments, like, this should be the reminder. Every time a Republican brings up one of these nonsense points, we should turn it back to, hey, your guy said he could break any laws, and now he can't. What's his defense? Ask him what their defense is. I'd like to know. For real. Not gonna talk to me. Just gonna be Eric come up here and tell me about his terabytes. Yeah, Republicans in here. Are there any Republicans in here? Do we have any in the chat? Can someone come up and explain this to us? Make it make sense, or just explain. Just tell us why you're going to ignore any facts. Like, that's what this is. Oh, hi, Wendell. Thanks. I am back. I think I've been back, but I had a cat named Wendell. Really? I had a sand volleyball partner named Wendell. We all knew a Wendell. We all knew a Wendell. That is crazy that we both knew a Wendell. Wendell was my friend's dad's name, and I used to think he was the grumpiest man on earth. And now that I have children, I understand why he was so grumpy. A group of friends, there was a group of 8 to 10 of us that would go to their house every day for lunch and eat all of their food. And he would come home pissed. And then I realized later on, oh, wait, yeah, he was feeding 10 teenagers. Of course he was pissed off. And he worked at the IRS. Sure. So he wasn't happy at work either. And then I named my cat after him. It was a Siamese cat. His name was Wendell. You really named it after him? Yeah, I called him Wendell the Great. Wendell got in a fight with an actual bobcat once and came away with just a missing eye. That's it. Wendell held up his end. No. Okay, so let's talk about, I think we should talk about the Border Patrol Union. So as the Republicans spent all yesterday just smashing this bill to bits, which is hilarious because you could very clearly see that none of them had read it. Lauren Boebert's saying I don't accept amnesty. Did you read the bill? What in God's name are you talking about? None of it makes sense. She doesn't know what amnesty means. But yeah, and during that time, the Border Patrol Union, who's historically been extremely critical of Joe Biden and his work on the border, came out and endorsed the bill. And let me see if I need to find the text. I want to read the actual text of it. Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is number 6, right? This is text. And then I have a video of the VP of the VP of the Border Union went on whatever, one of those far right. I can't remember. America's. What is it? MAV? I can't remember what it is. Something like that. It was, I don't remember what the acronym was, NAZ something. I can't remember. Okay, so the Border Patrol Union has been harshly critical of Biden, just endorsed the border deal, but Trump. Okay, so here's what they said. The Border Act of 2024 will codify into law authorities that U.S. Border Patrol agents never had in the past. This will allow us to remove single adults expeditiously. Remember,
of the 5,000 encounters, they don't get in the country. If they're singles, they are detained. So this will allow us to remove single adults expeditiously and without a lengthy judicial review, which historically has required the release of these individuals into the interior of the U.S. This alone will drop illegal border crossings nationwide and will allow a great many of our agents to get back to detecting and apprehending those who want to cross our borders illegally and evade apprehension. While not perfect, the Border Act of 2024 is a step in the right direction and is far better than the status quo, which is why the National Border Patrol Council endorses this bill and hopes for a quick passage. Okay, now, and let me find, I want to find.
Look, while you're finding that, I was on that, I'm on that call once a month with Andy Biggs, and he consistently is talking about how Border Patrol wants to get something done and how Border Patrol is begging them for resources that they're not getting. I would like to hear from Andy Biggs and Republicans what their response is to this. Do they all suddenly they've been saying like, oh, President Biden isn't listening to Border Patrol, they're telling him what he needs and they're not getting it. Well, now Border Patrol is saying we got what we needed. You gave us, like, you're giving us the ability to do our job. It's not perfect, but it's much better than what we had, and we endorse this. Now what do Republicans say? Now do you also stand against Border Patrol? So Border Patrol doesn't know what they're talking about. Democrats don't know what they're talking about. State legislatures, our legislature, like our Constitution. Nobody knows what, Mayorkas, nobody knows what they're talking about except for Marge. Like, that's what we're doing. It's Marge and Donald.
The dumb ones. They're not sending their best, is what we've consistently learned.
Sending their best. That might be their best.
Actually, it very well might be. We're learning. Well, okay. So this is Art Del Cueto. He's the VP of the Border Union that we were just reading their statement. And he went, Real America's Voice. That's what it is. RAV. Real America's Voice. And he was on there and so he's at the border, so it's a little, like, you can't hear, so I hope you guys can hear this, but.
Because what this bill essentially does is, you get a lot of talk on the 5,000 cap, okay? But what that is right now there is no cap.
He's saying there's confusion about the 5,000 cap, right? He's explaining what he's about to explain is that they're not going to release 5,000 people into the U.S.
Everyone that comes across that program gets released. Under this bill, everyone's going to get detained. You're not just going to be releasing. Why is it 5,000? Because they're saying, they're going to hold up to 5,000 that they're going to go through the process, but the processes are more strict than they are now.
He's saying the 5,000 won't be released into the U.S. The asylum process is more strict now.
The asylum officer will make the determination on the asylum, and if they don't have a good asylum claim, they're going to get, sent back immediately without ever getting released. And as opposed to now, everyone's getting released, and they're not showing up for court, or their court date is 10 years down the road.
He's like, so these people won't be released into the U.S. as opposed to right now, people are released into the U.S. and their court cases are like 10 years later. So anyways, it's hard to hear him. You can't, anyways, but he went on far right TV and explained that, which I do. I mean, it's good for them to hear directly. I mean, I don't think they care. I'm very confused why they even had him on to say that.
Yeah, again, like, now Border Patrol is the enemy. Now Border Patrol is part of the deep state, like everybody is. By the way, Mark F, Cody, and Mark S, as well as Tiffany Davis, thank you guys for the gifts. Tiffany said that her gift wants to go directly to Donald Trump's legal fees. So just want to make sure. Mark wants golf lessons for his. Granted, nice. Mark. Cody says, I prefer the non-gender. That's what my date said, or that's what my lover said. That's a correction on you. He'd like to non-gender that's what she said. That's a criticism. Okay. I believe.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. I appreciate that. Thank you, Cody, for keeping us honest. And Mark F, so Jay can get a razor. Hey, you don't like my beard? That's disappointing. All right. Thank you guys for the gifts.
Thank you so much. Okay. So anyways, the border. So then to bring this whole Border Patrol thing home and just how disrespectful, if I can find the clip. The point is then on Laura Ingram's show, MAGA Mike Johnson, who's all, filled with the Lord and Christ's love, goes. This man.
Say it like that.
What? Isn't he?
Mike Johnson is filled with the Lord.
That's what he's always talking about.
I love
and
that.
so he gets up there and they make fun of the Border Patrol for approving, and they imply that they're only doing it because they get raises. Do you remember?
Did I miss that?
I sent you this clip last night and you were like, we need to, everyone's going to be depressed. We need to.
Is that the one that I responded to after? I might have stopped watching your clips at that point. I was like,
I know.
can't do
It was a
this shit
long
anymore.
night of what is happening in this country.
I went outside, I lit a fire, and I lit a fire.
Oh, yeah. Here it is. Laura Ingraham and Mike Johnson are awful people.
The Border Patrol Union has come out and said the bill is better than the status quo. Does that affect your thinking on this?
Well, I think it does have something to do with the pay structure that's in the bill. I understand that they're desperate for measures that will assist, okay, pay at the election.
The Border Patrol...
They're laughing. You guys can't see their faces. But they're both kind of winking and we know why. It's funny they didn't say anything about that. And they're talking about how the bill is actually better. And I was thinking about this last night. No matter how you slice it, this bill is better. It addresses, like they said, most of the issues. It's not perfect, but it's better. The bill does the stuff, the HR2, that they were complaining about, building the wall. It does all of that stuff. All of the ridiculous stuff. Mayorkas is building the wall.
Is the pay raise a mistake then, Republicans? You don't want to pay Border Patrol more?
Yeah, exactly. But you guys care about back the blue. But did you hear that? They don't care. Where's Josh? Where's the Northern Border Patrol? They do not care if you get a raise.
Josh. Mika says, send a donation, 10 points for Gryffindor. I appreciate that.
Nice.
I am Gryffindor. Felice is for sure Slytherin, just so you guys know. There's no question about that.
I am a Slytherin. I Slytherin all day, every day.
And Ken,
for sure.
And Ken is pitching in for my carpet cleaning, so thank you, Kenneth. Appreciate that.
These are great. It's so much fun with funny messages. It's great for my ADHD. I'm just going to play a couple more of these awful clips I made of Laura Ingraham and Mike Johnson being horrific, just to give you an idea of what my night was like.
We did read through it, Laura, and it did not take long to realize that this is dead on arrival. There's no way we could bring this through the House. The Senate expects us to pass a bill, a piece of legislation that you just did a great job dismantling here. What it would do is actually further incentivize illegal immigration. It would not resolve any of the problems, not reform in any meaningful way the broken asylum system, the broken parole process, and all the things that have created this catastrophe. And by the way, meanwhile, it further empowers the very cabinet secretary who designed and created this mess. They don't follow federal law. Why would we do this anyway? But the bill itself would actually do more harm than good, and that's why we've said it's a non-starter over here in the House.
What? Talk about just word salad of crying and lying. Not one thing he said is true.
Yeah. So when he said it did he say it broadens asylum or doesn't address asylum? He said, I think maybe it doesn't address, right?
No, he said that, I think, I don't want to speak for this monster.
Read through it, Laura, and it did not take long to realize that this is dead on arrival. There's no way we could bring this through the House. The Senate expects us to pass a bill, a piece of legislation that you just did a great job dismantling here. What it would do is actually further incentivize illegal immigration. It would not resolve any of the problems, not reform in any meaningful way the broken asylum system, the broken parole process, and all the things that have created this catastrophe. And by the way, meanwhile...
Yeah, so it specifically amends the asylum process, the parole process, just to be clear. It specifically addresses those items.
Well, I'd like to point out in HR2 that their solution in HR2 was that when somebody came and was seeking asylum, after they made their asylum claim, the United States would return them to the country where they originated. Do you guys think a hotel room is expensive? What are we going to do? We're going to charter planes now?
Well, listen.
And then we're going to fly people back?
I know, they don't even get it.
The HR2 was an absolute mess. That's what he wanted. It expanded the classes of people who were ineligible to pursue asylum. That was the one thing H.R. 2 wanted to do, is they basically just wanted to make it so that you couldn't apply for asylum. So in every way, like they made, and that's why H.R. 2 was dead on arrival. Right?
I just want to read
it didn't make
this
any
really
sense.
quick.
It's not even possible. How are you even going to facilitate H.R. 2? So they took the stuff of H.R. 2 here. They're like, all right, what did H.R. 2 want to address? They wanted to address asylum seekers. They wanted to address the process. They wanted to address the length of time it took to get through this process. And they came
still
up with
want
a
to
plan
build the wall, and we're
that
building
addresses all of that.
Well,
All of
listen,
it's
so
addressed.
I just want to read off the tougher asylum. He's saying they don't address asylum. So, like, significantly tougher asylum requirements and a higher, and this is the bad part. Bad part if you're a Democrat, and higher credible fear standard, meaning they do this, it's called a credible fear interview, and it's what they do with people seeking asylum. And it's kind of a scary process where they're trying to like root out that people are lying or whatever. And so they're actually raising that standard, including 3 bars to eligibility. 1, criminal history. 2, could they have resettled in another country and on the way to the U.S.? That's what Mayorkas and Biden were already trying to do, but it violated federal immigration law and they have to start over. And 3, could they have resettled somewhere else in their own country? Just saying you're scared to return home will no longer be enough in initial interview. So
that wording is almost word for word H.R. 2.
Yeah.
By the way, like
that's what's hilarious about this.
Here's what it says in H.R. 2. For aliens placed in expedited removal proceedings, Section 102 would change the credible fear of persecution standard. Currently, a credible fear of persecution is statutorily defined as a significant possibility taking into account the credibility of the statements made by the alien in support of the alien's claim and such other facts as are known to the officer that the alien could establish eligibility for asylum. Section 102 would define credible fear of persecution as showing that the alien more likely than not could not establish eligibility for asylum, and it is more likely than not that the statements made by and on behalf of the alien in support of the alien's claims are true. So why is that different, Mike? Why is that different, Mac?
They literally took the
thing.
text from HR 2 and like added it here. And I just want to call something now because I've already thought about it. If God forbid, and I know I shouldn't even speak this into existence, but if Trump gets elected, watch. His he says on day 1 he's going to close the border. Watch that whatever immigration thing he does is literally the text will be from this immigration bill that the Republicans said is awful. Do you know what I mean? Because this bill essentially closes the border. That's what it does. Until people from around the world get the point that they can't show up here and just be released into the country, as long as 5,000 plus people keep coming, the border will not be open. So there will be much of this bill involved in whatever Trump does. You know what I mean? And this bill was written, I was listening, I can't remember what her name is, but she's like the number 2 on Homeland Security. She was on Brian Tyler Cohen's show, and she was talking about why this bill is horrible for Democrats. Her name's like Delia. Is it Delia Ramirez? I can't remember, but she was talking about why she's not voting for this bill and how scary it is for Democrats. And she was actually making really great points. Like, there's no pathway to citizenship. And what that does is people will keep coming. Like, even if we build a wall, no matter what we do, no matter how many times, like Border Patrol says when you talk to them, we had that Border Patrol agent up here. Was his name Josh? I can't remember. Who was the Border Patrol agent we were talking? Not Josh. That's Northern Border Josh.
Now,
Bobby?
Bobby. There you go.
Okay,
Bobby,
yeah. Bobby was saying, like, they release someone or get someone out and then they re-encounter them another time, like in one day, because they don't stop coming. And unless we give them a pathway to citizenship, some legal way to work, because we have millions of unfilled jobs in this country and where they can apply through an embassy, they will keep coming.
Right. Yeah, look, again, if the criticism from Republicans was this bill doesn't address everything, I think that's a fair criticism. They should definitely work to improve this bill in the House. Like, this is what the Senate agreed upon. The House could take this bill, instead of saying dead on arrival, they could negotiate. They could also work across lines with Democrats, but they refused to do so. And they're demanding that for a while they demanded H.R. 2. Now they're saying we want to do nothing, which is the biggest giveaway of the game that they're playing that I've ever seen in my life. Like, you can't propose a bill and then abandon the bill and say, let's do nothing instead. You can't raise
and say the greatest threat to America is the border. Over and over, this is the only thing that matters. And when you get everything you want, but like two things, then all of a sudden it's not a problem. Oh, we can wait till Trump's elected. Jim Jordan, I don't have the clip, but I saw a clip where Jim Jordan said yesterday, basically, let the people decide in the 2024 election. Let the people decide who they want. Basically, he means like who they want to fix the border. When we could
that
fix
doesn't make
it
sense.
now.
Yeah, it's not something we'll be voting on in the election. It's still something Congress is supposed to take care of. So what are you saying? Like, what are you saying?
Jason's
and by the way,
here. Hi, Jason Adams.
Bad move there by old Jim Jordan, because this election's not going to go well for them. Real quick, Williams sent a donation. 70% goes to the host because she does more work. Toby says $5 for a soak on me, and Melissa Melissa sent a donation, and again 60% of that needs to go to Felice because #feminism.
#feminism, always relevant. Jason Adams, you're in the chat. Why don't you send me a donation since you're so nice? Dan Crenshaw could fix everything. I actually agree with that, Jason. Dan Crenshaw is for the border deal. Jason, come up here and tell us what you think about Dan Crenshaw. Because remember last time Jason was the one, I don't know if you remember, he was talking about I can't remember what it was. He was saying something about Dan Crenshaw. Was it about climate? Oh, yeah. Dan Crenshaw was saying we could do something about climate crisis without all the Texas jobs going away. But Jason didn't know. Yeah, that's Jason. Oh, he's driving to church. Oh, you're driving to church, Jason, on Tuesday morning to repent? That's probably a great idea.
Knock it off with Tuesday church. Kim says 25 points for Gryffindor, or for Ravenclaw, just so we're clear on that.
Ravenclaw is, if I wasn't a Slytherin, I definitely would be Ravenclaw. Wait, is Hufflepuff the one that makes like potions, or who makes the potions?
Yeah, they're the peacemakers. I mean, everybody makes potions. Everybody takes potions. Don't come in here and butcher Harry Potter. Like, either be part of it or
no,
don't.
I'm not. But do you remember when there was the
TikTok
TikTok trend where everyone was choosing like what house they were from?
No, I do not remember that.
Oh, okay. Well, you missed out on one of the best things that ever happened on TikTok. You're a Harry Potter fan, and you weren't part of the Harry Potter.
Well, I'm not a TikTok fan. I basically do politics on TikTok.
We spend a lot of time on TikTok for someone.
But Snape was the potions TikTok, master, and he was Slytherin. So I don't know if we would tie that to Hufflepuff. And he was or not the headmaster. Obviously, he was the head of the House of Slytherin. So I don't know.
Okay, I love how serious. Forget politics. We'll just
don't fuck it up anymore. I'm tired of you ruining Harry Potter for everyone.
Okay, whatever. Anyways. Okay, so where were we? I just lost my train of thought when we started arguing.
Typical Ravenclaw.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, so, okay, Josh Hawley's a good one. Senator Chris Murphy was on a roll yesterday, just screaming at people on Twitter, excreting at people left and right. So Josh Hawley, and this is a part I never mentioned about, like, it was on my list of things in the border bill to mention, but we never really got through them all. But, children, so unaccompanied children, like if a child walks across the border alone, we're not throwing them away. Like, we're obviously going to do right by the children.
Sorry, Republicans. I know you wanted to throw them away.
So that's why it's funny. So Josh Hawley, because they're all trying to think of something to say to say they hate the border bill. Josh Hawley is, in true Republican crying and lying fashion, did I mention this border bill gives taxpayer-funded lawyers to illegal immigrants? And then Chris Murphy responds and goes, did you mention it's just for unaccompanied children? 8-year-old kids fleeing violence or certain death who arrive at our border alone, shivering and frightened, traumatized from the journey, not able to speak the language. We aren't monsters. We should help them.
Yeah, this is addressing, like, there was a bunch of stories. There have been multiple stories of unaccompanied minors who wind up having attorneys. The attorneys don't speak Spanish, and the children don't speak English, right? Like, I don't know how you get a defense if you have no representation. Obviously, these children can't afford a lawyer, and so there were constantly children not being represented. So all this does, like, while they're negotiating, they're like, hey, what should we do? This is how these negotiations work, by the way. It's like, what should we do if an unaccompanied minor shows up?
Oh, we should throw him in the river with the barbed wire.
Yeah, what's the other option? What?
Yeah,
this was probably one of the easiest.
No, Republicans care about children, though, Jay. Don't forget that Republicans care about children.
This was probably the easiest part of the negotiation. I don't think that there was anybody during this negotiation that was like, no, we can't do this. But again, like, the thing that Josh Hawley and Republicans know is that the people that follow them,
Josh Hawley,
they don't follow anybody else. So they're going to see this. Did I mention this border gives taxpayer-funded lawyers to illegal immigrants? And they're going to be like, oh, shit. And they're going to repeat that. And they're going to repost that.
Exactly.
And they're going to put that on Facebook. And we're going to hear it on TikTok when people debate. Because nobody ever goes and checks what they meant. They're just like, oh, Josh Hawley wouldn't lie. He wouldn't leave out necessary context that makes it so that this seems okay. He wouldn't possibly do that. Turns out he would.
Well, that was a good talk. PAB, which I assume stands for pussy ass bitch. That was his name. I assume that's what. But he's been saying crazy.
Wait, did somebody come up?
comments.
I didn't see it. I was looking away.
Oh, you were just talking to yourself while someone was up here.
Oh,
Someone who's been saying crazy stuff. PAB, you're welcome to come up here. You have a lot of opinions about the border, so.
yeah. What? You upset about this? PAB, is he upset?
That's his name. I assumed that's what it means.
Yeah, I'm asking if he's upset about. Is he upset that 8-year-olds are getting, children are getting?
I didn't know. I don't know his opinion on that, but he had some other opinions. Oh, he said re-invite me. He'll come up. Or I don't even know if it's a man. This could be a woman, by the way. They'll come up. Excuse me.
Yeah, I lost you.
Hey, what's up?
Hear me now?
Yeah.
You there?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh. So what's up?
We're just talking about the border. I don't know.
Yeah, it's out of control, ain't it?
Yeah.
Democrat border policy. The chief executive could close the border right now if he wanted to.
Under what authority?
Democratic border policy.
He's the
Under what
commander in
authority?
chief.
Wait, how would he do that?
He is the commander in chief.
How would he do that?
He is the commander in chief of the armed forces of the United States.
Armed forces don't control the
He can
border.
immediately mobilize the United States military
under what authority?
Border, and he can federalize the National Guard.
Under what authority?
He is the chief executive. He is the commander in chief. Article 2 of the United States Constitution, buddy.
Yeah.
Is the chief executive officer of the United States of America.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Are you an illiterate?
So, well, look, Donald Trump shut down the border at one point, right?
He didn't do that great of a job. I think.
No, hold on. No, he did. It was shut down. There was almost nobody coming across during Title 42.
Almost.
What?
It could.
Yeah. What did he use? Did he use his authority as the commander in chief to do that?
He did it legislatively.
No, he didn't do it legislatively either.
It was actually, there was 40-year-old legislation. The Remain in Mexico Mexico policy was legislated 40 years ago under Ronald Reagan.
No, what he used is the ability. The president has the authority in the state of an emergency. An emergency has been we've had rulings on what constitutes an emergency. Donald Trump was able to use a state of an emergency to implement Title 42, and that emergency was COVID, right? But once that was no longer an emergency, he couldn't remove it, or it was removed. So Joe Biden can look at the courts. Donald Trump has tried to shut down other types of immigration, and the courts have shut him down because they said it's not an emergency. So if Joe Biden tried to use his executive authority, which has nothing to do with being commander in chief, that's silly. I don't know why you think that that's the authority. No president would ever use their authority as commander in chief to shut down the border. No, because they haven't. None of them have.
David Eisenhower did it in the 1950s. He declared it an invasion. Dwight David Eisenhower sent the United States military.
You mean the racial slur invasion against Mexicans? Yeah, that is what Donald Trump is trying to model this after. Yeah,
I'm talking about
okay,
Dwight David Eisenhower. I am not talking.
Yes,
about
I am. And what was it called? Say the name of it.
The name of the executive order?
No, the name of the invasion. What he called it. It's a slur. It's because Mexicans swam across rivers. That's what it was called. And Donald Trump is talking about that, and that's what he wants to do. He wants to take Eisenhower's. It's called the opposite of dry. Not front, but it. That's
yes,
what
I've heard it before. Yes,
that's what Eisenhower called it, and Donald Trump is definitely referencing that and let's bring back what Eisenhower did. Which,
Good,
if you know anything, I wrote my college thesis on the Mexican repatriation, which was basically a horrific.
Well, congratulations!
Time.
We should do it again.
Yeah, which was what Eisenhower did, basically
border, and we should send
brutalized, murdered,
what did he do?
Disappeared a lot of Mexicans who were citizens and otherwise.
Okay, so what did they do? What did they go and they enforce the border? Is that what this operation was, Pam? Do you know much about what happened? What did they do?
Dwight Eisenhower sent the United States military to the southern border.
Yeah, you're wrong. No, he didn't.
Really?
Yeah, really. You know what? He went through states like southern border states,
right?
And they ran. And I'm not done with my sentence. I'm not done with my sentence. He sent troops to southern states and he swept through like agricultural fields, and it was a mass deportation. It was a mass roundup and deportation. That's what he was doing. They weren't protecting the border. They were rounding up people they believed to be here illegally. That would not fix that exact operation. That exact operation would not fix that exact.
I saw you look at your computer screen and Google it because
you don't have to have things memorized. You can be on your computer.
First of all,
anybody can look things up on their computer.
Real quick, first of all, address what I'm saying. But second of all, what I was looking up is the statute. I was trying to find the statute. But you don't know what Dwight D. Eisenhower did. You have no idea what this was. You just heard this on some radio show, and you showed up and repeated it, and you thought he said Dwight David Eisenhower.
What radio show is that? What radio show do you listen to? NPR News, MSNBC?
I don't listen to radio shows.
Yeah, we've moved on from radio now.
Yeah, I'm not.
Time has marched on.
Do you cite your sources?
I just did. Did you cite yours?
I can't remember what I read. I can't remember.
I don't have to cite sources.
Hey guys, let's calm down because this is a good conversation. So let's calm down. We appreciate you being here, PAB. You're doing a good job. So yeah, I want to learn. Tell us about the Eisenhower invasion.
Okay, I'm not a
or someone. Jay, tell us. I just want to for everyone in the chat, not for the people up here, but for everyone in the chat. Somebody just briefly review what happened so we can agree on the facts.
Eisenhower essentially sent troops down. I think there was. Let me find the numbers. 80,000 taken into custody in Texas. Between 500,000 and 700,000 had left voluntarily. And basically what they did is they rounded up people they believed that were here illegally. They put them on boats and they shipped them out of the country.
I just want to make a point quick in the chat. People keep asking me how my family came.
We don't talk to the chat while we're up here. We don't talk to the chat.
They came through a port of entry. That's how they came.
We don't talk to the chat while we're up here. But again, like how would what he did, like you're saying that Joe Biden has the executive authority to close the border. The only times the border has been closed, they've used a specific executive authority, and that requires a national emergency. So Joe Biden, I don't know why Republicans keep saying this.
I'm not talking about closing ports of entry. Are you talking about closing ports of entry?
I'm talking about closing the border to entry.
When you say close the border,
the border bill that's proposed closes the border between
when you say close the border
bill does that.
The new border bill closes ports of entry?
No, it only only ports of entry stay open, but under Title 42,
that's why it should stay open.
Okay, but
when you let people in your house, you have a door on your house, right, where you let the people in, and you see who they are when they knock at the door.
Yeah.
Before you let them in the house.
Yeah.
You don't let strangers come in through the walls and through the windows.
Is your house collectively owned by the rest of the population?
Excuse me?
Is your house collectively owned by the rest of the population?
The United States taxpayers who fund the government. Yes, they own.
The United States taxpayers collectively own your house?
They own that house, buddy.
The United States taxpayers collectively own your house?
I'm not understanding the point you're trying to make.
Do you own your house? Or do the taxpayers own your house?
I own my house.
Okay, so this isn't very analogous then, is it?
The point is
it's your private property.
You vet people before you let them into your home. So why would you not vet people? Why would you? What is the reason for not wanting to vet people before they enter your country?
Remember the new bill vets people.
Remember the COVID that all you liberals were scared about, and everybody needed their vax card.
The new bill vets people, my friend.
At ports of entry. You just said the new bill closes the border at ports of entry.
It closes at 5,000 and moves people to ports of entry. Before 5,000, and it's a rolling average, before that, you can still go to these other checkpoints where people are being funneled. But this bill is meant to expedite asylum claims. It's meant to shut down the border outside of ports of entry when we get over 5,000. Last month, we averaged 8,000 a day.
It
gives more resources to Border Patrol. It gives more judges.
There is no reason to allow anybody into the United States that does not come through a port of entry.
Okay, let me say something. You feel that way, but let me just say something. So I just want to make sure we're clear about what this bill says. So it, like Jay said, it's a rolling day, 7-day average of 5,000 encounters, or any day where there's 8,500, which according to the border would have been closed for the last 4 months. But the point is, at that, we're not releasing 5,000 people we encounter into the U.S. The single ones are detained. And then if they process, they don't need to see an immigration judge.
What about the 8 single ones that just beat
I'm telling
the hell out of a New York City police officer?
Okay, can you be quiet and just listen? That's a pivot. Let's stay on task, right? So the single ones are detained. The families, there's a different type of detention because they don't separate families, right?
Obama did.
But I'm just trying to tell you, you're not listening when we're talking, and the new border bill addresses all the things you're screaming about. That's probably
the fact of the matter is, I can't. It's 18 United States Code. I don't have a computer in front of me that says that you need to enter the United States through a port of entry. Okay, the President of the United States, the Attorney General, the executive branch can enforce that law today, and they choose not to. Period. End of sentence.
You don't understand federal immigration law. You have no idea what you're talking about, because that's what we tried to do. Biden tried to do that with, please stop in another country. Mayorkas and Biden tried to do that. If there's another country before here or where you started in there, you need to stop there and claim asylum. And it was struck down because it violates federal immigration law. The same with what you're talking about you have to be at a port of entry. Because listen to me, federal immigration law as it relates to asylum is that you can't tell someone running for their life that they have to be at a port of entry. Those are federal immigration laws. You do not know federal immigration law. You don't know federal immigration law. You just have feelings.
Calm down. Hey, stop yelling for a second. Just instead of getting upset and emotional, just understand, we have to agree on what the law means. And multiple courts have struck down. Yes, you're right. Somebody can falsely claim asylum. They can. But if you are an asylum seeker, you enter the quickest way you possibly can. You don't have to go to a port. That's why we need new laws in order to shut down the border at 5,000 people a day. We had to create a new law because we were not allowed to turn people away that are seeking asylum. It's international law. And like Felice said, Mayorkas and Joe Biden have been trying. I'm not in the middle of my sentence. Not in the middle. I'll let you respond, I promise. But Mayorkas and the Biden administration have had these rulings shot down in courts. Here, that you can't force people to try and stop at a different country, that you can't force them to go to ports of entry. That's why we need a new law. Because the old law isn't working, is it?
It worked great under Donald Trump, and then Biden came in with a stroke of a pen and undid the Remain in Mexico policy and every other policy.
When did border? No, a Republican federal judge struck down Remain in Mexico. You have no idea what you're talking about. That's why we have to change federal immigration law.
When did that happen?
No, listen to me. Oh my God, when did it happen? This is what I'm trying to tell you. You have to learn what actually happened. So the problem with executive orders is eventually they're all adjudicated in court. And what happened is Remain in Mexico was struck down by a Texas conservative judge. That's why it went away, because it was only viable during COVID. And once the COVID emergency ended, it had to end. That's what a federal judge ruled. That's why executive orders can only work in an emergency for a small amount of time. But what the border bill does is changes federal immigration laws. That's the point. We have to change laws. I agree we need to do something about the humanitarian crisis at the southern border. We agree on that.
Let me ask you
the date on that, just to give you the date real quick. That was in July of 2023. Now go ahead and ask your question.
Allow me to pivot. At what point?
Wait, hold on. If we're gonna have a good faith discussion, you can pivot, but can you respond to what Felice said? Because one of the problems we have in this country is that a lot of times when people get into a debate and they debate these things, once they get to a point that they can't explain anymore, they switch subjects. So can we at least agree that Title 42 and the Biden administration's asylum rule changes that they designed and tried to put into place in July of 2023 were shot down by a federal judge? The judge said, no, you don't have the authority to do this.
Yes, they did shoot down Title 42. Yes,
okay. All right, great. So now we've got to find a different way, right? Because the federal judge was telling Biden that Biden cannot unilaterally change the asylum rules, that it needs to be legislated. So then Biden went, and this is when this bipartisan commission was started to form. Biden went to the Senate and said, hey, Republicans and Democrats, come together, figure out something we can do, because this has to go through the legislative process. I can't do it on my own.
Hello?
We're here.
Oh, you cut out.
Oh,
we're here.
To repeat, yeah. Biden basically went to the Senate and said, I can't do this alone. The courts are striking it down. We need the House and the Senate to come up with a bill that works. So that's why we have this bipartisan bill.
How come Trump did it before Title 42?
Trump didn't do it before Title 42. Trump put in Title 42. And
then
Trump used emergency authority because of COVID. And so once there was no longer a national emergency for COVID, you could no longer extend Title 42 based on a national emergency.
Well, I would say we have an invasion on the southern border, wouldn't you?
But the courts disagree. The courts have basically said, like, this isn't qualifying. This was a Texas
and this
judge.
is a Texas thing.
The court basically said, like, hey, this doesn't qualify. Like, under our Constitution, this doesn't work. The legislative body has to address
Article
this.
1, Section 10 of the United States Constitution. The governor has a right to defend their state from invasion. Okay, so
wait, hold on. That is in no way a response to what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Joe Biden's authority to unilaterally change asylum rules, and the way that the judge ruled is that the legislative bodies are the ones that have to put in new asylum rules.
Okay.
So that's why we've had to wait.
And just one more point I want to make. Regardless, like, you feel this way, right? And other people in the country feel that way. But according to federal immigration law, what's really important to notice is people seeking asylum is not an invasion. That's the problem. You guys want to call it that.
It's being abused. It's
under
being
federal
abused
Yes. Listen to me. I have done a lot of research on this, and there's about 4 to 5 billion people under our current asylum laws that could show up at any port of entry, any board.
That's 2/3 of the world.
Asylum. Yeah, yes, there you go, doing some math. So that's what I'm trying to tell you is our asylum laws do need to be amended, because mass migration due to climate crisis, due to violence, is not going to stop due to economic stability.
At what point do we not
that's what we're, hey, you just have to, I know you're trying to make it so MAGA has no responsibility in this, but the Republicans have the majority in the House, and they have to legislate. They have to make new immigration law.
I completely disagree with you. I think the laws on the books, and it can be executed at any time.
Well, but then why do the judges keep ruling?
The states can do it themselves too.
Wait, no, the states cannot change asylum laws.
I'm not talking about asylum laws.
That's what Felice is. Felice.
I know what Felice is talking
Felice
about.
just explained to you,
and what I said was factual. It wasn't just an opinion.
So you think that we should?
I said something factual.
You did. So theoretically, we should allow 5 billion. We should take in 5 billion people.
You are not listening when I am speaking, so I encourage you to actively listen to the words. I am agreeing with you that no, it's not okay that 4 to 5 billion people could show up here and make a credible asylum claim. So, because we can't handle that, we need to change federal immigration law. And the reason we're getting struck down in the courts with executive orders is because of federal immigration law, and we need to change it. That's the only way this will get done.
I think I understand what you're saying to a certain extent, but it's at the point where the executives of the states should be using their discretion as far as invasion goes.
But they can't change asylum laws.
No, they can't, but they can use their...
but that's what we're talking about, so I don't know why you're pivoting to that.
If you have an army on your southern border invading your country, are you going to ask them if they're seeking asylum?
If you have an army that is making it so asylum seekers can't enter our country, you are violating the law. You cannot do that. Asylum seekers have the right to seek asylum. You can't just throw the army down there and like I know that Republicans paint this as a mass invasion of people. That's the middle of my sentence, brother. That's the middle of my sentence. I know that they're painting this as like that everybody there is harmful, but the truth is, like Felice said, the way our asylum laws are written, it makes it so that virtually anybody can show up and claim asylum. We need better laws. Fine. And Republicans' response generally, as a former Republican, I can tell you that our response was often, far too often, let's use force. But we don't have to use force. We could literally just fund our border, we could fund the judges, and we could change our asylum laws to make more sense. The problem is you have Donald Trump sitting there saying, I don't want Biden to fix anything because that hurts my reelection. That's his actual argument. Not that the bill is bad. Not that the bill. No, hold on. I agree with you. No, stop. Let's say I agree with you. Stop. You're getting political. Let me finish. The problem that we have here is you have a bunch of Republicans scrambling to say a bill is wrong or a bill is bad, and it's almost identical to the very bill that they put forward.
Okay, let's say you and I agreed on asylum claims. Let's say let's say hypothetically that you and I agreed on asylum claims, okay? And we should process more asylum claims. What do we do with them in the meantime? Why would we not detain them? Why would we do catch and release and let them enter the United States freely with court dates that back up years?
Because we don't have the resources. We don't have a place to. We don't. Hold on. Let me. If you're going to ask me a question,
we can answer the question.
Just understand. So this is part of what this bill addresses.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished with my statement. Then you can answer.
You asked a question, brother. Listen.
I said
you can go back to your statement.
I was making a hypothetical statement. Okay, saying you and I agreed on that we should fast track asylum claims. I think these people should be detained in the meantime. You said we don't have the means to detain them.
Right.
We don't have the resources to detain them.
Right.
Which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Where were you going to put them?
Oh, I don't know. The Utah.
Hey, all the detention centers are full. Do you know that? That's why this bill.
That's what this bill
exactly.
does.
On day one of Biden's presidency, he asked for the money to build new ones. That's so crazy and that's what's addressed in this bill also is increasing asylum beds in detention centers from 34,000 to 50,000. We need the money.
So what's 16,000 going to do? We're talking about
No, you're not. Again, active listening. No, listen. This is what the bill is funding now, right? It's fun. This is what you get.
So we're supposed to take 16,000 beds.
I want to make sure I got that number right.
We're supposed to take 16,000 beds as this big bonus that we're going to get to detain 16,000 more people. That's shoveling shit against the tide, quite frankly.
Listen, you're not, let me just explain to you what is going on, because you also still don't get it. The reason we have to detain people right now, listen, please let me finish talking. The actual problem, if you really care about the border and you want to know how this can be fixed, is the wait times, right? Because right now, everyone has to see an immigration judge. We don't have enough immigration judges. But what this bill does takes it out away from immigration judges. Now just immigration officials, right? So not technical judges, which are few and far between. They'll still see like the complicated cases or the ones that really need to be adjudicated. But now there's going to be an automatic process with just immigration officials to process people within 90 days.
Action.
Yes. So what I'm saying is we're increasing beds in detention centers, but people are going to turn over faster. That's the point, because it doesn't matter. We'll never have enough detention centers. What we have to do is process people.
Why can't we have enough?
We have to process people through the system.
You want it both ways.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Listen, you didn't listen to what we said. So again,
I did.
5,000. They're detained. If they're singles trying to get into the U.S., we are detaining them. Listen, this is what I want you to understand. And this was said by a Fox person, and I think it's great. So architects of this legislation, the status quo right now is when the border is overwhelmed, release everyone, right? Because we don't have enough resources. So right now it's like release everyone into the interior of the United States. They say this bill switches that to when the border is overwhelmed, remove everyone, right? That's the point. So right now people are being released into the interior. The point of this border bill is to stop that from happening. Okay. But so also
I think we should have 2 million beds.
In concert with increasing or speeding up the pace with which these claims are processed. That's the most important thing, is to speed. People can't be sitting waiting 3 years.
Fine. So let's say hypothetically you and I were both senators right now. Okay. Let's just say we were both sitting senators trying to come up with a piece of legislation. Okay. I would agree with almost everything you just said. The part where you lost me is that we're supposed to be happy going from 34,000 beds to 50,000 beds. I would vote.
Said that.
I would vote.
Don't get it because you're not listening.
I would vote to put. You spoke. Now I'm going to speak. I would gladly sign on to a piece of legislation that offered 2 million beds for asylum detainees.
Wait,
you're
where?
So unintelligent. That's the most unintelligent statement I've ever heard in my life. The point is to process the claims. We don't need to detain random people. We don't need to detain random people. You have no idea what you're talking about. What we need is to process the claims so we don't have to detain people. And when we process the claims, faster, we do not need to detain people.
Detain them first. That's the compromise.
That is what we're doing. But we're going to process the claims faster. Listen, you don't understand, or you're willfully ignorant. You're either willfully ignorant or you don't understand.
You said you lost me at detention. That's where it ended. That's where the bipartisan.
Okay, let's talk about detention. We have 25% of the world's prisoners right now. All studies, sociological studies show that punitive justice does not work. It has the opposite effect. Restorative justice is a better choice. There is no benefit other than, stop talking. There is no benefit other than privatized profit for privatized prisons.
I think you just pivoted.
That is the only benefit is for capitalistic industry. I'm not allowed to pivot,
but you can pivot,
That's the only, no, I'm explaining to you why nothing you're saying makes any sense.
Yeah, you're muted, dude. PAB, you're muted. I know you're probably talking, but you're muted. PAB. I'll invite him to unmute his microphone there. PAB, you're muted. Nobody hears what you're saying.
Is the faster we process them, the quicker we send them back. That's the point. The goal, they're not citizens of the United States. We're not trying to detain random people. He wants to detain millions of people indeterminately in camps. Does that sound familiar? Has anyone heard that before? We aren't detaining people that aren't citizens of this country. We need to process their claim and get them out of here. That's the point.
Yeah, look, if we could have got 2 million beds, like if we had the resources and we had
2 million beds, how dumb. The least intelligent number to say, absolute lunacy. Makes no sense. We have no right to detain a bunch of people indeterminately. It doesn't make sense. We process them faster. That's what the money needs to be spent on.
We have to remove you from the live. You have to come back.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, you were muted, dude. You just have to figure out how to unmute. That's the thing, PAB. Yeah, you were muted. I kept telling you you were on mute. You're welcome to come back. Let me find your. There you go. Welcome back, you bully.
What did I do? I wasn't bullying anyone.
I don't know. It just said I had to remove you for bullying. All right, let's do this.
That's really funny. Republicans are such crybabies.
All right, there you go. PAB, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. It said that host muted me.
Well, actually, our moderator did. People are tired of you screaming over Felice. And so, by the way, you can unmute after you've been muted. You just have to unmute it yourself.
I left the chat to come back in.
It's in the bottom right-hand corner, the unmute, or I mean, the bottom of your screen.
I didn't mean to go off on, like that, but you pivoted. You told me not to pivot, and you pivoted.
Brother, let me just ask you the question. Do you think we should...
Explaining why we're not going to have
Felice,
2 million beds.
You went from immigration...
Guys, both of you, please, for the love of God. I haven't been able to get a word in for like 10 minutes. I just want to ask you, PAB, do you think we should do nothing, or do you think we should do something?
If you call what we just discussed doing something, then I suggest doing nothing.
So you think nothing is better than this bill?
Then yes, I really.
So you
do.
think, okay? So just to be clear, what this bill does is it caps the amount of people coming in on border crossings at 5,000 a day. On average, we've been at 8,000. This bill, it adds more border patrol agents. It adds more judges. It expedites the process of asylum seekers so that we don't have to house them long term, and so we can move through them more quickly. Right? It also allows us at that 5,000 to move people to ports of entry. So in every conceivable way, our situation on the border gets better. And what you're saying is because you can nitpick things and find parts of this bill that aren't perfect.
All it does is open the floodgates.
Guess what, pal? There's
all
parts
it does
of this
is
bill.
open the floodgates.
Shut up, dude. You've got to wait till the end. There's parts of this bill I don't like either. But I recognize that what's going on at the southern border is a problem, and we need to do something about it. And it just seems like with you Republicans, like it doesn't matter what gets done. You don't care. It doesn't seem like you care about fixing this problem. How can we pass a bill that makes things better? And then you say, and how can we pass a bill? This is the question I want you to answer. How could we pass a bill that lowers the amount of people allowed in this country, that speeds up the asylum process, that gives more resources to Border Patrol, and you say, I would rather keep it the same, which is worse? How can you say that?
You just named everything you want, right? And I
haven't named a single thing that I want. No, I haven't named.
This is a bipartisan bill. This is a bipartisan bill.
In the bill. These are not my opinions. This is what's in the bill.
And I named what conservative Republicans want.
Conservative Republicans negotiated this bill. And in negotiations, you don't get everything that you want. Who the fuck do you think James Langford is?
You just listed.
Who is James Langford? Who is James Langford?
I don't know.
He was endorsed by Trump in 2022. Donald Trump, his own words, said he was tough on the border. That's who negotiated this bill.
He was chosen to negotiate for the Republicans because he was looked at as the strongest person on the border who could negotiate this deal. And he sat down with Democrats and they negotiated this bill.
Yeah, well, it's a shitty deal.
You don't know anything about it. This is the Republican way. What you guys do is you just complain about
this is the Democrat way.
No, shut up. I'm not done.
And moan, and you want everything that you want, and you don't want to compromise.
We didn't get what we wanted. You know what Democrats
hate this bill, you weirdo.
Amnesty.
We hate this bill.
You want blanket amnesty.
Yeah, we wanted amnesty. Guess what's not in this bill? Fucking amnesty.
It still opens the floodgates.
No, it doesn't. You don't know what you're talking about.
Just a random term he heard and just repeats over and over.
So why can't we have mass detention? You tell me. Why can't we have mass detention and vet asylum claims?
Listen.
Why
this time you have to listen. PAB. This time you have to listen. Okay. If you ask me one more time, like we got to end this. Felice has explained this a million times. Why can't we have mass detention? Because we have no place to put people. That's why people are in hotels and in high schools and in city centers and in police departments, because we don't have anywhere to put people, and you don't just erect a building out of fucking nowhere.
Why not?
So we've been trying. Joe Biden has been trying to fund detention centers for 3 years, and guess who's blocking that? Republicans. Every step of the way, Republicans are like, no, we can't fund more detention centers. No, we're not going to do it. So you're saying, why can't we detain more people? Have a place to detain more people, and we will.
Plenty of open real estate in this country, buddy. Millions and millions of
and guess what's on that real estate?
Cheap,
nothing.
Pal.
You got to build a building.
Pal.
How long does it take to build a building?
Oh, I don't know. You could build one pretty quick. The Wawa over by me popped up in about 3 weeks.
Just wants concentration camps. That's what he's talking about.
No, I want compromise.
No, this is a compromise, you goddamn potato. This is Republicans and Democrats compromising and bringing out a bill. You just want to bitch and moan. That's what you want to do.
Right.
You don't understand the bill. You don't understand how immigration works. You don't understand what the president can and can't do. You just want to show up and complain because that's all your party is now. Give me a Republican policy right now.
As far as what?
Anything. A Republican policy that they've presented in the last 2 years. Name one.
In the last 2 years?
2 years. That's a broad window. 2 years. Give me one policy that Republicans have presented in the last 2 years. Whoo! That's a long pause, Chief.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've only been in
because you guys just complain.
We've been in the majority for what? A year.
No. Deflect. What? It doesn't matter. I didn't say what got passed. What have they proposed?
What, a House bill, a Senate bill?
Either. Dude, look at you just stumbling. Are you Googling right now?
No,
Then why can't you answer the question? You're asking the most ridiculous follow-up questions. What do you mean by bill? What do you mean by policy? House, Senate?
He doesn't
just name
know.
one.
I can't name a
exactly because your entire platform, your entire party platform is to point at Joe Biden and point at Democrats and complain. We want to work with you, dude, but at some point you can't just keep complaining. If you want bipartisanship, if you want negotiations where people come together,
I don't want
you've got to come
I want to
together.
utterly defeat you people. I want to utterly defeat you people by massive majorities.
Yeah, but you're too stupid to do it. Like you're not smart enough to do it because you can't even come up with policies.
You know what,
how are you going to defeat us with no policies? How are you going to defeat us with no policies?
People are going to start seeing the light real soon. He said.
I don't know.
Yeah, of course
2
you
weeks.
don't know.
2
Of
weeks.
course you don't know.
A secure border sounds like a great policy to me. I don't know. Funding the Israelis sounds like a real great policy to me.
Yeah. Well,
why
hey, great news. Part of this.
Part of this bill funds Israel. Congratulations.
Great news.
You wouldn't know that because you don't read.
This bill funds not only the border, but it also funds Israel. So I guess we're doing your job.
So why does Biden have to hold Israel hostage? Why can't we just have an individual appropriation that funds Israel?
Biden has nothing to do with this. We got to schoolhouse rock him. We got to schoolhouse rock him. He doesn't know how the government works.
Who wrote this legislation?
It began in the House. All spending
wrong. No, it didn't begin in the House. 0 for 1. Who wrote this legislation?
Spending begins in the House of Representatives.
Who wrote the legislation?
Oh, I don't know, dude. I'm not on fucking CC.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything. Let me tell you. Senate Republicans and Senate Democrats. They wrote this legislation.
Okay, and where does spending originate?
And they hold on. Be quiet. You're learning something, and I know that's scary for you. Yeah. But hold on 1 second. I know. And
I've
you
read
can
the
let this sink in. It's okay to learn.
Buddy.
They negotiated this agreement, and now they've sent it to the House and said, look, here's what we'll agree on. You guys now debate it on your end because that's where it has to start. And then once it comes through, we'll approve it. You don't know anything, dude.
So once the House and the Senate pass a spending package that gives the Israelis X amount of billions of dollars, it's going to come across Biden's desk and he's going to sign it into law.
He has promised to sign it. He has promised to sign it.
I heard it's dead on arrival and he's going to veto.
That's Mike Johnson.
Yeah,
that's the House
Johnson.
I heard that on 710 WABC.
Well, then you're too dumb to know what you're hearing because Mike Johnson is the one that said it.
Sorry.
Do you want us to play the clip for you? Do you want us to play the clip for you? We have it. Would you like to hear Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, saying this is dead on arrival?
the
you
Israel
want us
funding.
to play it for you?
Go ahead.
Felice, do you have it? She's going to pull that up for you.
We did read through it, Laura, and it did not take long to realize that this is dead on arrival. There's no way we could bring this through the House. The Senate expects us to
sound like
pass
Joe Biden to you?
a bill.
Nope, that's Mike Johnson.
I
Not
don't even
funding Israel.
The
You don't know who
context.
Mike Johnson is?
No, he's a Speaker of the House of Representatives. I know who Mike Johnson is.
So who's really actually holding this up? The two things you said you cared about is funding for the
That
border
clip,
and funding for Israel. Who's holding that up? Is that Republicans? Is that Joe Biden? Is it
didn't
Democrats?
Biden, Schumer, and Johnson have the big powwow where the Ukraine? It was Ukraine funding.
No, I'm asking you a question and then you can deflect.
That was the
I'm
bill.
asking you a
Israel,
question and
Ukraine,
then you
the
can
border.
deflect.
That
I'm
was the
asking you a
bill.
question and then you can deflect. Who is holding up the funding for Israel and the border right now?
Joe Biden.
No, who is holding it up?
Joe Biden.
Do we need to play the clip again?
Yeah, it's taken out of context.
It's not taken out of context.
It's word for word what you said.
Brother, you
literally you made a statement
you
and
don't
then
know
told you
anything
said it.
and you're doubling down
They
on it.
had
You
the
sound
big
like an
powwow a
idiot.
few weeks ago. Schumer, Johnson, and Biden.
And
the three issues
we're
were
staying
Ukraine.
on this.
No.
You're
You're the one saying
Be
no,
quiet.
no.
Be quiet. Shushies. Okay, we're gonna stay on this topic, and once we get through on this topic, then we can go to the next one.
It's the three items.
Be quiet. Be quiet. I'm gonna ask. Be quiet.
That can't be individually appropriated.
Who just spoke? Whose voice did you just hear? Do you want to hear the whole quote so that you can find out that it's not taken out of context? Do you need the whole quote? You're muted. Do you need us to play the whole quote?
Can you hear me again?
Yeah, I can hear you. Do you need us to
I
play
know
the whole
your
quote?
host keeps muting me.
I know it's because
It's not me.
It's because you won't shut up. It's our
It's
mods.
not me.
It's because you won't
it's
stop
not either
talking
of
over.
us. Just know that.
Do you need to hear the whole
Listen to
quote?
this one. Here's an even better one. Like, this is how bad they're trying to kill it. This, and just so you, the context is, this is last night. Mike Johnson was on Laura Ingram's show on Fox. So this is a separate clip of him saying, this is how dead this bill is.
Mr. Speaker, are you going to be able to stop this bill?
We're going to do everything within our power. When I say it's dead on arrival, I mean dead on arrival. We're going to have to work this every other angle that we can and ensure that we're taking care of our responsibilities here. The House Republicans are dug in and ready to do that.
Okay, so there we have it.
Is he talking about the bill from the Senate that ties border security?
Yes, he's talking about this bill.
Right. So my question to you is, why can't we have individual appropriations? What would be wrong with creating a piece of legislation that funds the Israelis, which we can all
an answer for that? So the
which we can all agree
118th
upon.
Congress has
Why
been
can't-
doing
why can't
single
we-
appropriations.
You want to sing Kumbaya and have bipartisan?
She's answering your question.
I'm going to answer your question. The 118th Congress is the least successful Congress. They've been doing single bills, like you've said, and they had 729. They had 27 pass. This is literally the least successful Congress in history.
So you're telling me,
and because of that, no, let me just finish, because you said appropriations, and I just want to be clear. And because the House Republicans do appropriations, but can't agree on anything. They still to this day, no, let me finish my sentence. Still to this day, you are on Nancy Pelosi's budget. The last appropriations bill that was made was Nancy Pelosi's.
No,
and
actually,
all
we haven't had a
stop.
budget
Let me
since
finish.
November.
And all MAGA has done is sign continued resolutions to continue Nancy Pelosi's budget.
We've had
They have
CRs for the last 30
at
years.
every single. So Nancy Pelosi is still funding the government. Just know that, because
we've had
MAGA
CRs
is
for the last
impotent.
30 years. There hasn't been a budget since Newt Gingrich. That was the last time there was a budget, a balanced budget. That was
a balanced, but there's a big
90s.
difference between a budget and a balanced budget, right? You understand that we've had budgets.
We've had continuing
after Newt Gingrich,
resolutions,
right?
We've got omnibus spending bills.
You understand? Hey, stop just saying things that
Omnibus is still in place. Nancy Pelosi's bill is still in place right now because MAGA has done nothing.
I have to tell you something. I really think all these giant spending bills, I think it's ridiculous myself, and I really think everything should be done by individual
Great, that's terrific.
appropriations.
Can we stay on subject? Can we stay on subject, please? Can we please stay on subject? Can we please stay? I don't care about your opinion. No, we're going to go back to this because I told you had to answer this question before we moved on. So we're going to go back now. Now you've heard twice Mike Johnson say that this bill was dead on arrival, a claim that you attributed to Joe Biden, which is untrue. Now, because you blamed this on because you blamed this on Joe Biden and said that he would kill it, and now you recognize that it's Mike Johnson and MAGA House Republicans, are you willing now to admit that it's the Republicans that are holding this up?
I was asking you a question.
I'm asking you a question. The question I'm asking you
obviously,
for the 50th...
Mike Johnson saying he's not going to pass a bill.
Okay, so if you're going to complain about if you're complaining about the border, us doing nothing about the border and not funding Israel, you have Mike Johnson to blame. Stop blaming Joe Biden.
Because they're tying the border to Israel. That's the whole problem.
You said you wanted both of those things. And by the way, Mike Johnson doesn't say that's the problem. Mike Johnson isn't opposing this because it's not a standalone bill. Mike Johnson is opposing this because he thinks that we don't need new laws. So you don't even know what whatever you say doesn't matter.
Nothing to do with each other.
Hold on, my friend. Listen, are you in Congress?
Why do three things?
No, God damn it!
No,
are you
because
in
you
Congress?
People need the leverage.
I have to teach
you people.
I have to teach you things.
Everything, and
no,
you
my
need
friend,
the
I have to teach
That's
you
why
things.
we can't have individual.
Sweetheart,
you're a liberal hack.
Calm down, shushies. Okay, are you a member of Congress?
Don't ask rhetorical questions.
Okay, so no. The answer is no, right? Is Mike Johnson a member of Congress?
Don't ask rhetorical questions.
Okay, is Mike Johnson the Speaker of the House?
It's another rhetorical question.
Yes, okay. So I don't care why you think this is a bad bill. I'm telling you what Mike Johnson thinks. And Mike Johnson isn't making the same excuses you are. Mike Johnson is saying that we don't need new laws. We don't need a bill. We don't need any of this.
I agree with him.
So just so we're clear. So if you're upset with that, be upset with Mike Johnson.
No, wait, hold on. You didn't agree with him. We got you to agree earlier. You said you understood that we had to. No, let me just finish. That we have to change federal immigration law. We explained to you why we have to change federal immigration law. Because we're getting struck down in the courts, so we have to change the laws. You already agreed and said you understood that piece. So that's why Mike Johnson saying we don't need to change the laws is very confusing, because we do. And federal courts have told us over and over again, we have to change the federal immigration laws.
Why pass a bad deal that does nothing to fix the problem?
Why do you keep calling it a bad deal?
It expedites catch and release. All it does is
what does that mean? What does that mean? Explain to me how the
bill. We just had the whole argument where we can't have detention.
Explain to me. Stop talking while I ask the question.
God, liberals.
God, liberals. They want details. They won't let me just spew shit. Explain to me how this bill expedites catch and release.
You said it puts people who aren't part of.
No, I'm asking you. You made a claim.
I'm answering your question.
This bill expedites catch and release. Answer that question. How?
I'm answering your question, dude.
Okay, go ahead.
You and Felice just said that it takes there's executive appointees that aren't judges that are going to process these people faster. Okay, so is that not expediting?
Expediting catch and release? What are you talking about?
Expediting asylum, which is essentially catch and release.
It expedites the asylum claim, right? Because roughly 15% of people right now, I think is the latest number, are having their asylum claims approved. So that means 85% of the people are going to have their asylum claims denied and they will be sent back. So this actually means that more people will be sent back. If you look at the numbers statistically, under the Trump administration, 46% of people who showed up at the border were turned back. Under Biden, it's 55%. So Biden's done a little bit better job enforcing the exact laws that we have than Trump did. But even Biden's recognizing that the laws we have in place aren't going to work. So this is going to make it so that process happens quicker. Not only does the processing happen sooner, but because this also addresses the adjudication, the judge is making a ruling and adds more resources, the asylum process itself, instead of having a 10-year process, it's narrowed way down. I think they said most will be done within 2 to 3 years, which again isn't great. It would be nice if it could be done in a day or a week or a month.
It's much less than 2 to 3 years. They're giving
max 2 or 3 years is what I heard.
Well, in lowest is 90 days. It just depends on where they are. If it's a legitimate asylum claim, it will take longer, but most of them aren't. And
I know. I feel
Yeah, we all agree on this. A lot of the claims aren't. Yeah, and those will be just handled by an immigration official. That's what we're saying is. And I just want you, let me just to go off what Jay was saying, think about this. Like, I know you say mass detaining, but I want you to think about the cost of that. 2 million beds. Whereas if we can process people, it's like a claim is denied, we're sending you back, whatever, then we don't have to pay for them. Because whether we're releasing people into sanctuary cities and we're paying them there paying for them to live there, whether we're detaining them in prison, all of this costs money.
It's a gimmick, though. It's a bait and switch, because that's what you'll say that you want. Just like amnesty was in the 80s.
What are we switching? What's the bait? What's the switch? What's the bait? What's the switch?
The bait is pass my legislation, give me more resources, okay? And the switch is I'm going to send these people back after I process their asylum claim. But the point is...
Wait, what's the switch?
They're not going to send them back to the... going to get released.
That's not a bait and switch.
No, that is a bait and switch.
What? No, a bait and switch is when I convince you I'm doing one thing and then I switch the outcome at the end. A bait and you're saying that they're going to process the asylum claim and then send people back,
and they're not going to go back.
That's not a bait and switch. That's just the asylum process.
They're going to stay. It's the same thing with amnesty in the 80s.
Wait, hold on. Wait, let me make sure I know what you're saying. You're saying that the Republicans and Democrats who negotiated this bill, what they're just tricking us. They're saying like, oh, we're going to pretend we're processing asylum claims, but really we're going to let everybody stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one of what are you basing that claim on? What are you basing that claim on?
If that wasn't the case, then why can't we have detention?
Wait, hold on. We do have detention, but first of all, what are you basing that claim on? You're saying that why would Republicans and Democrats come together and negotiate a bill that they're just lying about? Like that they actually, why would Republicans agree to a bill where they're just going to allow people to stay and not to
because half of the Republican Party is a part of the political establishment. Only half the Republican Party.
Oh, got it. Oh, now we're in. Oh, okay, right. So it's deep state.
We're back to Ryan.
Yeah. Yes, okay, so now we're back to the. Yeah. So now we're at the part where, despite what the bill says, despite us explaining to you for the first time what this bill means, now that you know what the bill means and you still can't admit that you're wrong, you are now resorting to conspiracy theories that the deep state is actually trying to turn this into amnesty, despite the fact that it specifically lays out, despite the fact that it specifically lays out no amnesty, none, no amnesty. It's not in the bill. Despite the fact that that's not in the bill, you're still convinced that this is an amnesty bill?
There's no pathway. There's no pathway to citizenship.
Reagan did it in the 80s. Reagan did mass amnesty in the 80s, and we were supposed to get border security out of it. And guess what?
That doesn't matter. It's 2024. Nobody gives a shit about 1980. Address this.
Okay. No, so we should trust the government again.
Address this.
The government, right?
Address this. Address this. Okay, I need you to address why a bill that provides no amnesty is a secret amnesty bill.
Just wear a mask and you won't get COVID, right? Just get your shot and you won't get COVID.
Okay, so now you're running. Now you're just now you're just saying dumb shit because you don't have an answer.
I'm just laughing at you.
Conversation we're having. PAB, just so you know, I think people are appreciating this conversation. It's a good conversation. Let's not veer too far into the weeds.
No,
you know what I mean?
Right now I'm asking you specific questions, and dude, you're a grown man.
I'm giving you
wait, hold on. You're a grown man, okay? If I ask you a question, answer it or say I don't know. What you're doing instead is
I'm trying to demonstrate.
No, I just don't trust the government.
Demonstrate how the government tells you one thing and then does another thing. But it's been done. It's history.
When have they? Okay, give me another example. When the government came out and said, here's a bill that provides no amnesty, and instead they gave amnesty.
This would be novel, but Reagan did amnesty in the 80s.
I know, amnesty has existed.
You said you want an amnesty, right?
No. Yeah, I want amnesty, yes.
Yes, I know you do.
But amnesty, but hold on. Amnesty doesn't...
Well, hold on what?
When I say hold on and start a sentence, just wait till the end, okay?
God, dude,
I know, sweetheart. I know, it's hard to listen. I hear you.
I'm going to start smoking again.
Good. That'd be great.
Tap the screen. Let's get to 200K.
Amnesty is talking about people who are already here illegally. Now, if you're talking about asylum seekers, those people are not here illegally. They're here legally. Right? So how can it? God damn it! Can you wait? How can a bill?
But you're pivoting.
No, I'm not. I'm explaining the difference between asylum and amnesty. How can a bill that addresses asylum and specifically doesn't talk about amnesty be like this amnesty bill with an invisibility cloak on?
Because the underlying point is it will be bait and switch, just like it was 40 years ago. How was amnesty and border security bait and switch 40 years ago? The government.
It wasn't bait and switch 40 years ago. How was it bait and switch 40 years ago?
Reagan did amnesty, and we were supposed to get border security in return.
We've been funding border security ever since then.
So how did 30-something million people get here illegally?
Do you think we didn't fund border security?
So, but explain to me how 30-something million people got here illegally.
Okay.
If we had border security,
can you
explain that?
Yeah, what happened is there's a lot of countries that were dealing with COVID, and those countries.
No, I'm not talking about COVID. I'm talking about 40. Give me 40 years of how 30-something million people got here illegally if we had border security.
30 million?
I would say it's got to be around 30.
Of course you would. Yeah. You wouldn't look at the real number. You would just guess. Got it. That's fine.
It's been 8.5 million. It's been.
Let me tell you how 90% of people here illegally are on overstayed visas.
Right.
That means they entered the country legally and they are still here. 90%.
90% of what? What's the number?
Christ.
What's the number?
90%.
What's the number?
Well,
what's the number?
There's a lot of first of all,
what's the number?
Do you want me to answer the question, Chief?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool. There are a lot of. First of all, it's ironic that you're like, "What's the number?" when you just made up a number,
right? And
but
you just
there are. But there are a lot of different numbers, and all of them are estimates. So it depends. It's as low as I've seen it as low as I think 13 million. I've seen 30. Donald Trump says it's 458 billion.
Well, there's 330 million people in this country. Okay, so there's 330 million people in this country.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. So you can go back to Schumer's figure of 12 million, which I believe he said was.
I think that's updated to 13.
Right, but that's before Biden let 8.5 million in. So what are we talking? 20 million at a minimum?
Well, no, because you're saying people who are here illegally, people waiting again. You seem to not understand this. If you have an asylum claim, you are here legally. You are not here illegally. You understand that? So anybody who has an asylum claim, the people that we are housing, those people are here legally.
Abusing the asylum system.
Agreed, but legally.
Right, abusing the asylum system.
Right, but legally.
So why are you going to tell me that I should just trust the government?
Because amnesty wouldn't have anything to do with people who are here seeking asylum.
So why should I trust this deal when we didn't get what we wanted 40 years ago?
You did get what you wanted. You've had border funding over and over and over.
Then how did all these people get here?
I just explained that. They come here legally. Because, again, it's not about border spending. If you come here legally...
So you're going to tell me...
Hold on. Be quiet. Listen. Wait till the end. Okay? Before you get upset. These people come through the border legally. And then they go into the country. And then they disappear. So building a wall, getting more Border Patrol agents, will do nothing to fix the people who are here on overstayed visas.
And we can't detain them,
90%.
Right? And we can't detain them. So
and that's 90%.
Again, right?
What's that?
And we can't detain them, like you said, right?
We can't find them. There's no. How are we going to find them?
So how about we don't lose them? Let's not lose them to begin.
What do you want to put trackers on everybody that comes here on a visa?
Let's secure the border.
Do you want to put No. Again, these are people who got here legally. So when somebody comes here legally on a visa, are we going to put trackers on them? Is that your solution? Every person who comes here legally, we have to put on a tracker.
I didn't say that.
Well, then how are we going to find them? Well, you said, how about we not lose them? How are we going to keep track of them without a tracker?
Well, eventually, first off, you have state, local, and federal law enforcement. And eventually that person is going to make contact with some type of government agency, whether it's for public assistance or law enforcement.
I haven't made contact with anybody that I've had to give my ID to from a government agency in years.
Oh, when was the last time you renewed your driver's license?
If you're somewhere illegally, you're definitely not contacting a government agency.
So, excuse me?
That you're going to find these people because they're going to willfully contact a government agency?
No, they're going to make contact with a government agency. You need to make contact with a government agency for public assistance.
Not if you're here illegally.
or a driver's license.
You don't
What
get
I
a
tell you
driver's
is my
license.
family is indigenous Mexican. Like I mean, I was born here, but I have family members that aren't. And like, if you're here illegally, you don't contact a government agency. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No. I'm not.
Okay, so if you think you're going to round them up because they're going to tell on themselves and turn themselves in, I don't know if that's the best.
Making contact at some point, they have children and go to a hospital. At some point, they make.
Oh, so you want hospitals now to be reporters that are mandatory reporters?
No. I know. I gave you the ammunition, and now you're going to exploit.
Yeah. So now you want the DMV, hospitals, schools. You want those to be the enforcers of our immigration policy. That's what you want?
No, I want the federal government to enforce immigration.
Why not?
Why not to begin?
Why not amnesty and allow? Why not amnesty and allow people to work and allow people to pay taxes?
Well,
we have a massive deficit.
What about
we could use more tax? We could use more taxpayers. Why not more? We have 12 million jobs in this country sitting unfilled right now. Why not make it easier for people who were here illegally to get amnesty and work? And if they don't work, then sure, like we can figure something out. Like let's make our laws so stringent that you cannot get assistance if you're here illegally, but give the people who are here illegally the ability to work. Why not do that? Why? That's what Ronald Reagan wanted. That's what George H.W. Bush wanted.
Right.
They recognized that there were too many people, and we needed amnesty for these people.
Let me ask you another question. At what point, because it's been done before, do we just stop allowing people in so they can assimilate to the American culture?
These, again, 90% of these people are here legally.
No,
I'm saying you want to ban legal immigration.
Sure, that you would like people to assimilate to. What is that culture that you're referring to, sir?
The English language.
Oh, here we go.
Well, we don't have any laws that say that English is a national language, right?
No, but
so you'd like to force everybody in this country to speak one language?
Should you be allowed to operate?
I'm asking your opinion. I'm just asking an opinion.
I'm
just asking an opinion. Do you think we should put laws on the books that say everybody in this country has to speak English?
No.
Okay. Well, then how are we going to do that? So then how are we going to enforce immigration laws saying you can't... Wait, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question. So how are we going to force people that come here to learn English if we don't have a law on the books that says you have to speak English?
Would you deny that there's an American culture?
100% would deny that there is anything remotely close to it.
Yeah, our culture is not your culture.
It varies. I've lived in 23 states, and every state is remarkably different.
You say yes. Every state is remarkably different, but again, back to assimilation. We stopped.
Assimilate to what though? We're trying to figure out assimilate to what.
The American culture, speaking English.
What's the American culture? What is it?
Being literacy, civics,
eating McDonald's. What are you talking about?
So what about the people in America that can't read? Should we deport them? Should we send them somewhere?
No, we should teach them how to read, and we should.
Okay, so then we should teach immigrants how to read too. I agree.
And we should let people assimilate. We did it in the 1920s. You disagree with what we did
Great. So if we're going to help people assimilate, then that means that when they come here, we've got to give them, if we want them to learn English, we probably should help them. So we should give them classes. We should give them job training. We should give them the ability to work. And we should show them, we can give them upward mobility so that they can become contributing members of society, correct?
Right.
Okay. Well, then the problem is
at what point
what
Republican
is going to
how much immigration
what Republican is going to agree to spend money on helping immigrants get an education and have job training? What Republican is going to vote for that?
What do you mean? Every one of their kids goes to a public school.
I know, but they don't want that school for immigrants.
How much immigration is too much? Is there such thing as too much immigration?
Don't run from this. We're still on this subject. You don't get to run from this.
You tell me a place where an immigrant is denied medical attention, is denied an education, is denied any kind of public service in this country. Can you name one place?
Yeah, all the time. It happens all the time.
Where?
In literally every state that happens.
So when they go to the hospital, they're thrown out into the street, or does
they can be? If it's a privately owned hospital, they absolutely can be.
I haven't seen one privately. Every hospital.
Brother, my uncle owns 7 hospitals.
What's that?
My uncle owns 7 hospitals.
So what
Hospitals are being bought up by corporations right and left.
Dude, there's nobody dying in the street in the United States. There's people dying in the streets in the United States every single day. What are you talking about?
Yes, there absolutely are, and they're Americans. They're Americans. We don't even help the unhoused.
From the head on the side of the street, you're going to be taken to a hospital.
No, people die in the streets all the time. What are you talking about? We don't have universal health care.
Oh man, you cracked me up.
I crack you up because you say dumb things and I correct it, and you're not really sure what to do with that.
Yeah.
And you're probably used to being in a group of people who listen to what you say, and because they agree, they just let you ramble. But
you are one of the smarter ones. I'll give you that.
What you say is like it doesn't make any sense. Like nothing you're saying is connecting.
No immigrant or migrant anywhere is being denied any kind of public service.
What are you talking about? It happens all the time.
Where?
Literally every state.
Where?
Literally every state. In our, we live in Arizona.
You can have driver's licenses in Arizona, right? Immigrant or people who
asylum, yeah, or if you have a work visa, I think. I don't know what the
Wait, are we currently talking about people claiming asylum, or are we talking about people who overstayed visas? Just to
now we're talking about we've left asylum seekers.
Okay, yeah. People who've overstayed visas, yeah, they can have driver's licenses in Arizona.
I'm not.
And go
I'm painting with a broad brush when I say migrants. The point I was trying to make that any migrant in the United States is not going to be denied any kind of necessary public service, be it food, be it medicine, be it shelter. You have
Wait, only because they are being shipped to sanctuary cities. Only because Democrats are willing to take care of them. Texas isn't Texas isn't providing this. Texas is putting barbed wire. Texas is putting barbed wire in the river.
Well, how come Eric Adams doesn't want them to come to New York City?
Because he doesn't have any. He doesn't have enough resources. Because he doesn't have the resources.
Which this bill addresses. Did you know that this bill is going to give funding to Eric Adams and other sanctuary cities?
How many billions?
Surprise!
How many
billions?
How many billions?
No, did you know that?
How many billions?
Did you know that?
I said no. Okay. How many billions? I want to know how many billions.
Let me look into that while you're doing this. But first, wait, just really quick. Guys, we're doing CoinCot. We're not accepting gifts. So if you want to donate to us, those are the Venmo and the Cash App, and write us a little message. And hey, PAB, you too can donate to us. You owe us money for this conversation.
I need you guys to donate to me.
Get on Venmo and pay me, and write me a thank you message for the education. Wait, what did you want me? What am I supposed to be looking up?
How much New York City is getting in this bill?
Okay.
Am I on muted?
No, we can hear you.
Oh, because I got muted again.
Yeah, because you were talking. You decided in the middle of Felice's sentence that it was your turn.
It's 1.4 billion. So 1.4 billion in FEMA funding available. So just listen to the wording because we have to figure out, discern what we think this means. Available for disbursement to NGOs, municipalities. So that's the sanctuary cities. But some of that money doesn't unlock until key border security metrics are hit with ICE detention beds. So they're going to fill the beds first. At ICE and Border Patrol new hires, and at least 1,500 deportation flights.
So 1.4 billion.
They're getting people out before they want to fund more people in sanctuary cities.
So 1.4 billion dollars is the dollar amount.
Yes, in FEMA funding available for disbursement. Yes.
To every sanctuary city, 1.4
yeah,
billion.
not just New York. Yeah, but no. So it's for NGOs, so that's non-governmental organizations that are working with immigrants or asylum seekers, and then municipalities.
Why so little money? Why not more money?
This was originally just a supplemental bill that was just supposed to provide something for Border Patrol, and now it's turned into this huge thing. Like day one in office, he just said, "Hey, 14 billion for Border Patrol. We're going to process people faster. We're going to increase beds," and this has now turned into a huge thing. Really, it should be more than 14 billion, but we have to pass aid for Israel.
I thought you said 1.4 billion.
1.4 billion, but 14 billion is the total dollar amount that is on the table in this bill.
I agree with you that we have to, like you just said, we have to pass aid for Israel. So let's just take politics off the table, okay? And let's just say that why can't we have one bill to fund Israel?
Look,
take politics.
Can we be honest about this?
If you really want to be bipartisan,
let's be really honest about this.
I wasn't done.
Why? Well, stop asking questions and then adding stuff at the end. Ask your question at the end. It's confusing. It's weird when you ask a question and then give the answer.
Go ahead. You give me the answer. Educate.
The reason is because it doesn't work, right? The reason that these bills come together with multiple issues is because that's how negotiations work. Right. Sometimes you have to capitulate on one. Sometimes, no, that was actually by design. That's how our founding fathers designed it.
I know it's by design.
You have a problem with our founding fathers now?
Do you know George Washington was against the two-party system?
Everybody was against the two-party system.
The Federalists were. George Washington.
Everybody was.
Oh, real democracy is not a two-party system.
By the way.
Yeah, we are all for Scandinavia. The best democracy is Scandinavian democracy. You should look up how Denmark's government works. That's what we need to be doing.
But the point is, like, I don't know, if we're just being honest, it feels like a cop-out for you to say, like, we've spent all this time explaining what the bill does. I think you agree that the bill actually does a lot of good. But there's this part of us in American politics where we never want to give the other side a win. And you're now stuck in a place where you now recognize, after everything we've talked about, that this bill actually addresses most of the issues that you've brought up. Does it do it perfectly? No. Could it have been better? 100%. But like now you're down to, well, it should have been standalone. Like what are we supposed to tell Border Patrol? Hey, sorry, Border Patrol, we're not going to give you any help because this isn't a standalone bill. Hey, sorry, Texas. Sorry, Texas, we're not going to make things better. Sorry, Israel. Sorry, everybody. Like, first of all, I don't like funding Israel at all. But, like, are we just going to tell everybody sorry? We're not going to do shit until Donald Trump gets in office? And then what happens if Donald Trump doesn't get in office? Then what? You recognize that's what you're advocating for, right? You're advocating that we do nothing.
I'm advocating for individual appropriation.
I know, but that's not going to happen. So by default, you're advocating that we do nothing.
I think the border deal is a terrible deal, even though you explained it. I think it's terrible.
Okay, but do you think it's better than what we have right now?
No, I don't. I think it's more
That's crazy. That's insane.
No,
that's insane. That is just you choosing to be dumb at this point.
No.
It lowers the amount of people who can cross the border. It speeds up asylum process. It gives us more border patrol agents. It gives us more judges. It gives funding to sanctuary cities. It increases the amount of people we can detain at the southern border and keep there during their asylum process. It makes things better in every way. And you're going to sit there with your whole chest and say that it's not better. Tell me why it's not better.
It goes back to the point where the border shouldn't even be a bargaining chip.
Shut up! I don't care about that.
It shouldn't be a bargaining chip.
No, why is it not better?
It's the exact
No. I need you to explain why it's not better. I know that you think the border shouldn't be a bargaining chip, but that's really stupid because of course it's a bargaining chip. That's how our Congress works. No, It's obviously It's obviously a bargaining chip if we just had to spend weeks negotiating it.
The Democrat Party has made it a bargaining chip. The executive
party.
It's the Democrat Party.
Absolutely not. Listen, just because you didn't take second grade grammar, I can't help you. It's Democratic Party. The adjective is democratic. The noun is Democrat. You have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyway,
either way, like you keep saying that, like you keep wanting to place the blame on everybody else, but at the end of the day, Democrats and Republicans came together. The thing that we complain about all the time is that all they do is work to oppose each other. For once, they came together because it is an emergency, and it's never going to be enough for you. And the reason is, and this is a guess, and you can argue this if you want, but please let me finish. My guess is that you don't educate yourself very much, but you like to have strong opinions and you like to debate, and you've recognized that if you just say that every standalone bill, or every bill that's not a standalone bill, is a bad thing, then that's your exit out of every argument.
The point is,
the reality is, like, your way is not possible. Your way won't happen. So you can sit there because it won't happen. Nobody will do it. It won't happen. So you can sit on the sidelines and bitch and moan and cry.
It's impossible.
And it allows you. It allows you to sit there, and it allows you to leave conversations thinking that you said something.
No,
it
allows you to claim to want to do something.
I read the bill. Did you read the bill?
It allows you.
Did you read the bill?
It allows you to claim that you want to do something.
Did you read the bill?
It lets Biden say
you read the bill?
And it lets you claim that you want to do something.
Did you read the bill?
Well, I've been so well informed by you two. Why should I need to?
Yeah, see, you just made my point. Like, you think that your brain is sufficient. It's not.
You need to pay us for the education. Our Venmo and Cash App is right here. Just donate generously, PAB.
I like you, Felice.
Oh, thanks. I like you too. People tell me I'm way too nice and I'm a bad judge of character.
No. I don't think so. Anyway, I gotta run.
All right, brother.
Take it easy.
I would just advocate, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself every day, I can learn something from others. And stop doubling down on saying dumb shit like this border bill is worse than what we have currently. Because literally nobody agrees with that. That's an insanely moronic thing to say. And I truly believe you're smarter than that. I think you're better than that. But that's a remarkably dumb thing to say.
All right, sir. You've had the last word. Have a nice day.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Come back and see us.
I will. See you later.
I think we made a friend.
Couple.
No, I think he actually learned something. I think that was good because we went through a lot of the points of the bill. I mean, as we know, like this, I'm talking for our audience, not for necessarily who's up here. So I think it actually was good because we got through a lot of points of the bill. And it's good to just see the cognitive dissonance on display, right? Like PAB is smart enough to understand what we're saying and follow the bill and understand that it's good. But that cognitive dissonance always has to snap in place, right? Like it always comes, nope, this isn't good. Like they have to do it. And like the standalone bill, that is one of like when you heard it from, who started the standalone bill thing? Matt Gaetz. Yeah. That's who it was. And the Gaetz 8. And that was the excuse to just drag their feet and not accept anything, was to just say, we need standalone bills. But what we've seen from the House and the standalone bills is that they have done nothing. This is the least successful Congress in history. So if it worked, if standalone bills worked and they were getting anything done, I would say, hey, sorry, Felice, I don't believe you with these guests. What do you mean?
Real quick, while we go that, Amy sent a gift for Excedrin funds, which I think, which I think is fair.
Yes.
Kelsey sent a gift for Shushies, PAB.
Shushies, PAB. We should have read it.
Alan said, love it when you guys give it to these dummies. And Sue said for Felice because she is a bad ass. And,
bully.
And then also thank you, Lisa, for the donation as well. Here we go.
Just I like reading the messages. Screaming to, I know, the messages are the best part of the whole thing. I know, they make me happy, actually. Like, surprisingly happy. No, I do think that was a productive, it's sad where we've gotten that when I consider that productive. Do you know what I mean? Like, how far we've fallen. The bar is in hell is what we just learned. But that is more productive than a lot of things we have done on here,
Get those that are in the guest requests. I have Tweaks 502, Paul Hernandez, and Ain't Nothing Easy. We're just looking for opposition. If you're opposition, go ahead and stay in the box. Jen has been messaging you, but I'm gonna let Jen control this. So if you would like to, if you would like to come up here and have a discussion with us, you just got to respond to Jen. That's the rules. I don't make them. Jen's in charge of me.
Jen does run this place. This is just like a daycare we check into for 3.5 hours.
You guys
My mom dropped me off.
It's Big Brother, Big Sister. And Jen is both Big Brother and Big Sister for us there.
Who said I'm not opposition? Paul's not opposition.
Okay. Let's see. What should we go to on... What time is it? 11:58. It's cruise today.
Guys, tap the screen. Let's try to get to 250K. Again, let's invite some Republicans. Who haven't we? I'm going to start making a list. I need to start. I should have wrote down names because I always follow people when they're up here. That is also the bad thing about not having gifts on is you can't follow anyone. They need to change that.
That is a weird thing. I'm sure
that's the worst. Yeah, no one can follow anyone that's up here. That is the worst part. Because then you'd stop. I guess that's why they want you to turn gifts on, because then you can get followed. Yeah. Okay. I'm working it out in my head as I'm talking.
Did we cover...
I wanted to say, I have something to just quick things from the outline. There was this article yesterday I saw where Trump said this. Trump wants to debate. Did you know that? Ed, long time no talk, my libertarian friend. Ed's smart.
Look at that eyeball.
What's going on? So you guys are a big fan of the new immigration bill?
Hate it, but I guess our position, I'm just curious why Republicans don't like it.
I mean, the argument I've heard from the last guy was, when you were talking to the last guy, RTP, was it's better than nothing, which I think is a pretty low bar.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I'm with you. I agree. Better than nothing but unfortunately, that's the best we can get out of this Congress.
Right. I haven't read the entire thing. Apparently you have. It's 337 pages, right? From what I see, I put it through the old AI to give me the bullet points, and it says it's 118 billion and only 20 of it is going to the Border Patrol.
I think it was somewhere around 20 billion that went to, but that's for hiring Border Patrol. I can't remember what the exact number was.
Well, no. I mean,
it's also Israel and Ukraine. Yeah, it's Israel and Ukraine.
Border Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, money is for Israel and Ukraine in this bill
right,
as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where you lose me because, I mean, that's just me in general. But this conversation will quickly turn into about Ukraine and Israel before it does the border, because at the end of the day, I think $20 billion, because that's what I said to 20 billion to Border Patrol. I didn't mean to Border Patrol. I mean, everything involving immigration is 20 billion in that bill. 98 billion are going to non-border, and it's called the border bill. It's called the immigration bill, where less than a fifth of it is going to immigration, which kind of blows my mind. I think this is why people get upset when they start talking about omnibuses and single issue bills.
But why are people upset about everybody knew that we were trying to negotiate Ukraine and Israel. People shouldn't be surprised that that's in this bill. Of course that was going to be part of it. That's how they got the negotiations together.
Yeah, because it doesn't even look like they're trying. This is like a write-off. $20 billion to the immigration fund at this point is like a write-off. This is something, especially since $6 billion of it is going to housing undocumented migrants and stuff like that to help build the house.
You mean asylum seekers?
You're right.
Asylum seekers. Yeah.
Now, obviously, if we're going to go into my personal stand on it, I think that probably the most of the claims of asylum seekers nowadays are not as valid. It's just another way to clog up the system, because it's you can't leave if you say I'm here for asylum.
Yeah. Well, Ed, let me ask you a question though, because you're smart and I have enjoyed our previous conversations.
That's true, I am.
Do you understand? Biden has been trying to do things to get around the federal immigration laws around asylum, but he's been struck down in the courts. And so do you agree that we have to change federal immigration law? We have to change asylum law?
Well, yes, obviously. We're in a situation.
Okay. Well, we can't get some people to even admit that. We have MAGA who won't say we need to, MAGA Mike Johnson was on Fox last night saying we don't need any new laws. We specifically need laws. We're losing in federal court.
Right. No, this is incredibly important. Look, if we're going to live by this system, I've all cards on the table. I don't know how long we're going to be in this American system that we live in right now. But if we're going to try to make this thing work, yes, we're going to have to change some laws and meet somewhere halfway, or it's just going to be might is right at the end of the day. And that's the scariest thing about being on the right, because you see that they're just pushing at this point. Like, it's like, I don't care. What do
you mean? Where do you feel like that's being pushed? I used to be a libertarian. I still consider myself a libertarian socialist, which is weird. But like I honestly, God,
honestly, that's the origination of libertarianism, though. Like,
what's that?
The red and black libertarian socialism is the original libertarianism.
Right.
The new American libertarianism is an offshoot of it, even though
it's just anarchy that people or anarchists that pretend they're libertarians. But I don't see, like, I look at the left and I look at the right. I look at this administration versus the last administration. I don't see that Democrats are actively pushing legislation to hurt people. I see that from the right. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, some Democrat legislation that's been pushed that is harmful to the American people. I can't think of one. It's very possible I'm missing one. But, like, all I see is the right attacking American democracy over and over and over, attacking our institutions, attacking marginalized communities. It's weird to me for when people on the right feel like they're being victimized. It's very strange to me.
Right. So, I mean, the institutions, obviously I don't like laws that attack people in particular. I think the culture war is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Bar none. Like, that's not going to get anywhere. Because that's one of those things where it's going to have, if you're ever going to want to change the culture, you're going to have to be on some level fascist leadership. Like, you're going to have the most power to be able to just say, well, no, too bad. That's the end of that. But when it comes to the institutions, they're kind of shit, ain't they? Like, that's the thing about when they attack the institutions, I don't mind as much, because it's just a bunch of, like, bureaucracy and garbage that exists to frustrate more than help.
I honestly, if we're being honest, I think that's kind of like not to say that that's your opinion and that you're not educated, but I think it's lazy to just say that. Like, because if I were to ask you why the institutions
not unlazy. But the apathy is built. The apathy is built from years of being worn down by the said system. That's the problem. Like, I'm not saying that they're impossible to save, but, like, if they're not trying to save themselves, all of a sudden I'm supposed to care?
Well, honest to God, I just think that that's a narrative that's untrue. I think that, generally speaking, the everyday American has negative feelings towards our institutions. At the same time, I regularly deal with everyday Americans, and they can't tell me, they can't explain what the problems with the institutions are. To me, it's more of Americans, like, we have so many great things, and compared to other countries, like, life is not that hard in America, right? But one thing we love to do is we love to complain. Like, there's 350 million people here. It's the world's largest economy. We have the world's largest military. There are a lot of moving parts. I've never been in a big organization where there weren't problems all over the place. But that's just what happens when you expand to 350 million people. There's going to be problems. There's going to be blind spots, and I just think that it's sad that I feel like a lot of Americans have just given up. And that's, so, like,
if I, like, had, like, fantasy booker of the United States, right? Like, if I was in charge of like, setting these things up, I'm going to say some very non-libertarian things, but I would strengthen social systems. I would reverse Citizens United immediately. I would, just obvious things that even the dumbest MAGA person will claim that they won, like get money out of politics, and the dumbest Democrat will say that they won. There's obvious things that are obvious for a reason. And then, like, when I look at what's left, like, it really is just cutting red tape. Like, these systems exist, and they should be helping, and they do help enough people to make it a horrible thing if they went away. Like, obviously, if you said no food stamps tomorrow, no SSI tomorrow, whatever, the country would collapse, right? Like, this is, but they're also frustrating enough to be the bane of many people's existences. So,
and I think a lot of the reasons, like, we're upset about these programs, and it sucks that they have to exist. But the real reason is, like, we won't address the systemic problem. We won't address the fact that our country is not set up in a way where the economics work for everybody. They
right? No, like
top,
if you want a
right?
systemic system, like a program that would work in my mind, it would be you take all the slumlords in rural and urban areas, you could just take the land, but buy them out. Then you give affordable mortgages to the families that have been living there for the rest for their entire generation. Like, and then you're not giving anyone anything that they don't have to have, some sort of self-reliance for. Like, these people still need to work to pay those mortgages, but they're not exorbitant. And they actually have then you get rid of things like the George Floyd riots don't happen if everyone owns those neighborhoods. Who cares if you're going to burn down a house owned by some slumlord that you're getting overcharged for anyway? Like, of course not. Of course you're going to riot in the most violent way possible at that point. And a lot of those, I understand, weren't riots. They were people getting attacked by cops and then rioting back. But, I think that's a pretty common sense program that could be put into.
Yeah, I just want to point out to with 933 people here, this is what libertarians are supposed to sound like. Just so you know, like, this is what a libertarian is. A libertarian is not an
There's
ANCAP.
one sane one on TikTok.
They're not
It's
fascists. So they're supposed to sound like this. Now, I agree with all that, especially the part of giving ownership of government housing to the people who live in it. I love that. I recently heard that idea in a debate. I had never thought of it. Like, this maybe is 3 days ago that I've heard that. And I think it was a libertarian debate.
Policy-wise, my favorite president of all time, not the way they treated Native Americans, but Theodore Roosevelt. Like, trust busting, we could use some trust busting. That would be a big thing. Because, like I said, I'm a libertarian, but first and foremost, I care about communities. And if your corporation is just hurting communities, why would a community want you to exist unless it had a gun to its head, a pew-pew, or I'm sorry. So like a Walmart or whatever, like you can fund as many like children's soccer teams as you want, but if you're putting everyone on Main Street out of business, which they've already done, I'm acting like it's something they've been doing. They might do it next week.
Ed, for the chat, will you explain trust busting?
Trust busting is essentially making me do my dissertation again.
It's people who the government assigns, like, it's basically like to
breaking up monopolies, right?
Monopolies, yeah. They're the antitrust lawyers. They're the people that are meant to go through
like the Heinz Kraft merger that never should have happened recently. Yeah, like stopping the obvious conglomeration of huge corporations.
Like when Disney buys Fox, did it go back the other way? I don't know which one bought which. But like when you see that,
you're thinking ABC and Disney. I think is what you're thinking of. Disney bought ABC. I don't think Disney.
No, they bought Fox too. That's why they had like Star Wars and stuff like that.
Fox? Did I miss that?
Yeah, that was like 4 years ago.
Murdoch owns Fox still.
Well, I think they bought all the IPs or something.
That or something, because I know Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News.
Oh, it was 21st century.
Yeah, 20th Century Fox.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways.
But yeah, like during the Gilded Age, when this was happening, this is when like J.P. Morgan and the Rockefellers and all those stuff, like they had conglomerated like so many intersecting businesses, like steel, the rail lines, pretty much like anything that you could think of that was in the progressive era of America. And it's called the progressive era for a reason. People don't like it. People don't like put it, because today when you look at progressivism, you think of like, racial issues, trans issues and stuff like that, which are important in the modern day to people for sure. But at the time when everyone was like, children were working 18-hour days in steel factories, a progressive idea was, hey, don't do that. Oh my God. What do you mean?
Well, some Republicans think that those children long for those jobs.
The mines, the children.
They're tiny. They fit in there perfectly. It's fine.
Hey, you got small hands, though. You can't fit all the coal in them.
Good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, sorry for finding common ground with you guys. I know that you wanted to yell at people, and
yeah, you're an unbelievable piece of shit. How dare you?
Yeah.
No, that was a great palate cleanser. I appreciate it. I think that I like your outlook, where you can recognize that some things are better than others while still criticizing them, and I do think we need to be better about that. Like, as people, whatever side you're on, like, be willing to criticize your side, but we do need to recognize when, like, a deal is better than another deal, and sometimes, like, we want a sandwich and we get a shit sandwich, but it's better than
right.
than
I mean, like,
Comment
ultimately,
leave a comment because people want to follow you. So will you? And we don't have gifts on, so no one can.
Oh yeah. No problem. Thank you.
Write a comment.
Like, ultimately, I don't like this deal for, I think, pretty clear reasons. It is better than nothing, the same way that something is better than nothing.
And before you go, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on funding Israel as a libertarian?
No, I don't think we should fund any foreign wars.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like, if you want to get into a back and forth, I'm sure me and you in Ukraine would probably be completely like,
probably. Because see, I don't like funding Israel, but I am pretty okay with funding Ukraine in the way that we have. Like, because I do think that I do think Russia's a problem, and I do think that our national interests and the world's interests are at stake there. I don't like the idea of Russia just being able to invade sovereign countries. So I'm far more on board with Ukraine than
Well, I think that's where me and, like, a lot of the, like, you and I forget his name, Crown and Thor, like, a lot of creators like you, because you actually, like, you have a good heart, man. You think you can fix this thing. My thing is that I'm apathetic. I'm pretty black-pilled. I think 50 years from now, America doesn't exist the way it exists now. I don't see any way that it could. Like, I think we're living through the end of an empire, and fighting it back just seems like
the death rattle.
Right,
but
yeah.
And people see, like, the end, like, when you say the end of the American Republic, like, that sounds horrible, but really could be the growth of something new as well. Like, the end of what? I mean, is this
right? Yeah, no. We could have space communism, utopian space communism, where everyone.
I'm in for moon communism.
Yeah, who knows? Or we could have the second coming of the Third Reich. Who knows? The Fourth Reich, even. But it's all just. It's tiring. I'm tired, guys.
Yeah, listen, Felice and I last night were talking about that. Like, I decided to give a pep talk to Felice last night that was just me giving myself a pep talk, but I had to say it to someone else. I was just sitting around the fire, and I was like, hey, tomorrow we got to just laugh at this shit. Because, like, you read these stories every day, and you watch these people in Congress just lie and lie and lie, and it's so easy to get down. But, like, I almost think that as Americans, maybe we take ourselves too seriously. And maybe we put a little too much stock into what these morons in Washington are saying. And maybe if we mocked them a little bit more, and maybe if we didn't take them so seriously, we could get to a better place.
Well, it is a farce, isn't it? It is hilarious. Like, if you look at it as someone that it's not directly affecting your life, it's the funniest comedy in the history of mankind.
Comedy of errors, for sure.
Yeah, yes.
Like,
it's Shakespearean.
It's Shakespearean.
Positively.
Yeah. For sure, 100%. And maybe I was thinking, what if we got all of the people in Congress on TikTok and then we shamed them into changing? How long, if they were forced to be on TikTok, could they bear it before
as long as they could learn the dances, they'll be fine, I'm sure.
I can tell you Mary Ann wouldn't last very long. I have two more questions before you go. My first question, my beliefs are pretty, like, most people understand my beliefs, but one of my most radical beliefs is that we should ban Canadian geese. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Canadian geese.
Yeah.
There's an invasion at the northern border.
Like, do we rename them American Freedom Geese while they're flying over top, and then?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking maybe if we could, maybe an Iron Dome at the northern border to keep these geese out of our.
We can take
poisoning the blood.
They don't need it. Come on, they're lying.
They're poisoning the blood.
They are.
We have to get them out.
I do not like cleaning goose shit at all.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you.
Second question: should the president of the United States be able to commit any crime he wants and get away with it?
Well, when I was talking about how we're not going to be living in the same America 50 years from now, that's probably going to be the start of it. Because, like, obviously when they wrote the Constitution, no, that wasn't what was in mind. But this game of telephone, this 400-year-old game of telephone has seemed to have ended at, yes, sure, why not?
Okay.
Because it's being seriously considered, so it feels like that's going to be an oncoming yes from the actual courts.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this country who think that should be the case.
God, you're cynical. I think so. I can't. Ed, man, you're just dark. That's like you're like me in my head.
You're after hours police.
All right, guys.
All right. Hey, it was nice to meet. I don't know if we've talked before, but this was refreshing.
We have. I've evolved, I feel, since the first time I talked to you. For the first time I talked to you, I was more like, you just need to shut up and vote Trump already. Just lean into it, man. It'll be okay. It'll hurt for a second, but you're a white straight guy. It'll be fine for a little while.
The white straight guys are good under Trump. That's true. You weren't wrong about that. All right, thanks, Ed.
All right, man. Later.
All right, see ya. All right, guys. And Ed, make sure you comment in the chat. It looks like 12 people
he did.
figured out how to find. Oh, he did. Somebody else said comment in the chat.
Guys, tap the screen. Let's get to 280K. It's already 12:20. Tap, tap, tap. Ed is Felice's intrusive thoughts. It's so true. That is literally, that is like what's going on in my mind. For sure.
Let me Airborne Mom sent a gift, a shot of tequila after listening to PAB. That's very much appreciated.
Oh, thank you. God.
And DH for Felice's most excellent taste and Jay's beard. I'd just like to point out that part of Felice's excellent taste is that she chose to work with me. So I feel like that's a true story. It's a double compliment for me. Yeah.
I love your optimism.
Thank you. I think I got them all. Yeah, got them. All right.
I want to look and I want to see. I know we have so many clips that we could play, but also,
let's see. Play the Nagoose ones?
Oh, no.
Those are the best ones.
We didn't play. Yeah, we didn't play any of those. Thank you. That's what we're missing from today. So I think we touched on it a little when I was screaming about margarine at the beginning of this live, but yesterday in the rules committee, because in order to bring a vote to the House floor, you have to pass a rule first. So the rules committee is like the last stop before a bill gets to the floor, and that's why they all blackmailed their way onto the rules committee, Marjorie Taylor Greene, so they could have more control. And so anyways, in the rules committee, when they're passing the rule, so it gets to be debated. So Mark Green, the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, he's the head of the impeachment of Mayorkas, had to go to the rules committee and be questioned by none other than the gentleman from Massachusetts, Jim McGovern, and his right-hand man, Joe Neguse. And they tore him to pieces. Like this,
not a good day.
Oh God, Mark Green's faces were just like, get me out of here, and it just kept going on. Okay, so first, you're gonna love this. This will cheer us up. Tap the screen while we listen. So this is Jim McGovern. Oh, sorry, I turned my volume down.
The leader of this charade. Look who is leading this effort. Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's the leader of this charade, and she said it herself. This is her quote. Let me use her words. She said, beautiful dessert. This is beautiful dessert. That's her line. In exchange for her vote on the, quote, shit sandwich debt ceiling bill. I mean, are you guys...
So just to be clear, what he's saying and revealing in the Rules Committee is that they agreed, the Republicans made a deal with Marjorie Taylor Greene for her vote in the debt ceiling bill that before they had heard any evidence, they would impeach Mayorkas for her. That's what is being revealed.
Kidding me? This is who is dictating the House floor schedule? Is she now the majority leader? Marjorie Taylor Greene? Someone who proudly speaks at white supremacist rallies? Someone who promotes Holocaust deniers? Someone who compares Joe Biden to Adolf Hitler and who says COVID mask requirements are the same thing as Nazi gas chambers? Someone who says wildfires are caused by Jewish space lasers and that 9/11 was an inside job? That's the person that you've put in charge of this whole Republican agenda right now? The clowns are running the circus around here. And we're wasting hours and hours of time this week on Marjorie Taylor Greene because what? She wants to impeach somebody. And don't even get me started on her absurd censure resolution of Congresswoman Omar that she introduced because she doesn't know how to use Google Translate. We could be actually debating and voting on a border security package, but we can't because Marjorie Taylor Greene is in charge and Speaker Mike Johnson is terrified of her and her MAGA extremist friends. And we all saw how good that worked out for the last guy. Her whole legislative agenda is revenge, retaliation, and impeachment. She's introduced, get this, 20 pieces of legislation in this Congress, 20, and 10 of them are to impeach or censure people she doesn't like. Half of her legislation that she's introduced is about impeachment and censure. And to see this committee, to see this institution be so totally perverted by this garbage, it makes me sad.
I mean, come on. Jim McGovern is my hero. Like, this man is amazing.
If any of you don't know what he's talking about with Marjorie Taylor Greene about Google Translate, yesterday Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know if you don't have the video, I'll read it. But,
no, I don't have the video. She censured Ilhan Omar. Yeah.
So she moved to censure Ilhan Omar and said, "I would love to expel her." By the way, this is on the floor. This is not a podcast. This is not a tweet. This is legitimately happening on the floor. I would love to expel her. I think she should be deported, like a naturalized.
She's an American citizen for 24 years, just for the record.
I honestly do. Any person that's been elected to represent the United States government that admits in a speech in public that's on video, it wasn't changed, she's lying when she says that, and she says that she's representing the interest of a foreign government in her role as the United States representative. She should be expelled and deported. The video that she's referencing that's why he says Google Translate. The reference.
It's a mistranslation, yeah.
Yeah, somebody mistranslate for her. What the video says is that she supports that Ilhan Omar, supports a unified Somalia, which aligns with long-standing U.S. policy favoring a one Somalia approach. My stance remains consistent with the goal of a stable and unified Somalia. That's it. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, if I remember right, the mistranslation came in trying to make it look like Ilhan Omar was pledging her allegiance to Somalia rather than the United States. That she supports Somalia in opposition to the United States, but that's not what
she's trying to say she's a foreign agent, like acting as a foreign agent on American soil, but she's an American citizen. This is a shocker. You can't deport American citizens. There's nowhere to deport them to because, we're from here. The whole thing's very, very racist. If you remember, Caitlin Collins fact-checked her on CNN, and it was glorious. So let me just play another couple. Jim McGovern continues. So just to
finish that. Sorry, just to finish exactly the translation issue because I want to get there. So Greene's resolution. Greene's translation said that the United States government will only do what Somalians in the United States tell them to do. They will do what we want and nothing else. They must follow our orders, and that is how we will safeguard the interests of Somalia. We Somalians must have confidence in ourselves that we call for the shots in the U.S. And that was their translation.
Yeah, it's nothing. So Margarine basically exactly like Jim McGovern said, censored someone because she doesn't know how to use Google Translate correctly. So anyways, basically Jim is continuing to harass Mark Green about Marjorie.
Let me just say, Chairman Green, I have respect for you as a member of this Congress.
High praise.
But quite frankly, reading what is before us and watching all this unfold, I think you should be ashamed of yourself for bringing this kind of trash before this committee. I mean, we are here because Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Chock full of Nuts caucus wanted us to be here.
Preach. The Chock full of Nuts caucus. It gets better. This guy should deserve an award. I wish there was an award show for his work in Congress.
Let me ask you, Chairman Greene, if you succeed and Secretary Mayorkas is impeached, who replaces him? Do we know who will be in charge?
Well, I assume that there's a deputy who would step forward.
You know the name of the?
No,
you don't.
No,
I mean, it seems like it's a pretty.
I don't see why that's relevant.
Well, it is, Robbie, because the question is, I mean, will it be somebody who is implementing Biden's policies?
So if he murdered someone, would we just not get him out of office because there's nobody named to follow him?
The answer to the question is you don't know.
You're right, I don't.
Okay, so let me ask you
so Mark Green, the chairman of Homeland Security, they're getting rid of Mayorkas because he's so bad, but have no idea who's taking over. They don't even know the person's name.
I kind of give Mark Green a little bit of credit. If that was Marjorie Taylor Greene, it would have went differently. Like, Mark Green tried to deflect, but he's not great at this. And so then they're like, wait, so you don't know? He's like, yeah, I don't know. He tried. He did his best to try and deflect, but then had to admit. And I give him a little bit of respect for that, just for admitting that he doesn't know something.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Maybe we can ask them to produce the audit. But before completion of your investigation, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the author of this, said that impeachment had been, and I quote, guaranteed to her. That was on November 30th of 2023. And she said, and again, I quote, I've been guaranteed by Speaker Johnson and Chairman Greene that the House would impeach Secretary Mayorkas. Why would you promise her that you would impeach no matter what the evidence said?
By that time, we'd been through a lot of hearings and reports.
So in November 30th, you did promise her.
No, I don't remember ever promising.
Is she lying or is she?
I don't know. It could be a misunderstood conversation. That happens all the time in this building.
That happens all the time in this building because he can't say she didn't, because he did say it. And then and we all know what happens if you call Margaret a liar.
What could possibly be the misunderstanding there? Like, what was lost in translation there? That's the most, like, that's such a cut and dry deal. There's no ambiguity there. I'm not sure what they could even argue there. Either Marge got that deal or she didn't. But there's no, like, middle ground deal that doesn't include what she's saying.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and now we're going to pivot to Joe Neguse, who's Jim McGovern's number 2 on the Rules Committee. He was a lawyer on Trump's impeachment. He's highly intelligent. Okay.
He's so like Jim McGovern with an energy drink.
Yes, exactly. Younger Jim McGovern.
Object. Chairman Green, I have an editorial here. I'm going to enter it in the record. The title is Americans Are the Victims of the Impeachment Inquiry. It's an opinion piece. The subtext is a lot of bipartisan legislation that enjoys widespread support sits gathering dust while Congress focuses on the impeachment inquiry. I assume you disagree with this?
I do.
You do. It's interesting. These are your words. This is an editorial that you wrote 5 years ago during the debate about the impeachment of former President Trump. It's written by Mark Green, guest columnist in the Tennessean, local newspaper, I take it, in your state.
It is indeed national.
Americans are the victims of the impeachment inquiry. A lot of bipartisan legislation that enjoys widespread support sits gathering dust while Congress focuses on the impeachment inquiry. It's fascinating to me that you changed your tune. And I'll ask that this, I'll give you a chance to respond in a moment, Mr. Chairman. I'll ask that this be entered into the record.
I love him. Joe Neguse is the best. So so he basically found a piece written by Mark Green during Trump's impeachment saying exactly what's going on now and threw it in his face.
Did you see? I liked how he hesitated for a while. I think he was trying to decide if he had said that or not. When they asked him the question, like, do you agree with that? He's like, no, I don't agree with that. But I think he thought about it for a second.
I think he knew he was probably walking into something. Yeah. He was like, uh-oh. Like, but he couldn't turn back. The only answer was to stick with Trump. That's the thing. You have to go off the deep end and just follow Trump. And that's what messes all these people up. Okay, and then there's one last piece of Joe Neguse, again, embarrassing Mark Green.
This
What the law says.
I'm not asking you
I thought you
for
asked
the
for the
evidence. I'm asking you for the elements, okay? Let me try to explain this to you. And I understand you're not a lawyer by training. I served as one of the prosecutors during the last impeachment after January 6th. I stood on the floor of the Senate and made the case to the senators that President Trump should be impeached for a constitutional crime. We laid out specific elements and then made the case for why the evidence, that much of which, of course, it was later further developed by the January 6th committee, ultimately tied into proving those elements.
Well, if you're an attorney, then you clearly understand there are no elements to a high crime. There's no place in the code where there says these are the elements of a high crime.
Got it. Okay. So your contention is that you can, pass a resolution of impeachment, walk into the United States Senate, say, you know what? Here's the high crime and misdemeanor, and whatever, if I say I have evidence to prove this crime or misdemeanor, I'm not going to define what the elements are necessary. I'm not going to define the mens rea required to prove this particular crime or offense. I'm just going to say, I believe that he subverted the law, and so therefore he's impeached.
I mean, you should subvert the law.
Okay. Well,
a judge ordered that, and he'd been to law school.
Mr. Green, Mr. Chairman, all respect here. I can assure you, having studied the records of the Federal Convention, having read the Federalist Papers, this is not what the framers had in mind. The notion that there would just be this nebulous phrase, high crimes and misdemeanors, that would extend to anything and everything that you deem a crime, with no definition as to elements of those crimes. That is not what James Madison or the framers of our Constitution had in mind when they conceived of the constitutional standard for impeachment, period. And that's why legal scholars, conservative ones, liberal ones, witnesses that you all used to call before the Judiciary Committee with regularity, Jonathan Turley, many others, have said this is a baseless impeachment. So I have no idea how you are going to go about proving this high crime and misdemeanor in the United States Senate. I suspect that's why they will reject this.
What the law says.
I love Joe Neguse. That's like foreplay to me. It's like he can just talk, like
Felice needs to go.
Just keep
Felice
talking.
needs to go. She needs a few minutes.
I've listened to that clip like 20 times. I'm like, my eyes like roll back in my head.
It's a good point that Turley is suspiciously absent. Like, Turley has been the guy that Republicans have brought up time and time again to argue that the crimes Trump committed didn't rise to impeachable offenses. Well, good luck getting Turley to agree with Mayorkas here. Nobody can even tell us what Mayorkas did, at least, and that's the point that they're making here. Like, it's okay to disagree that former President Trump should have been impeached. It's okay. I think that there's like enough ambiguity there that I think you can make an argument for him not being impeached, and you can make a good argument for him being impeached. But like, they're simply asking, why are you going to impeach Mayorkas? Like, by what standards? What are the high crimes and misdemeanors? What are the parameters that you're judging this by? And there's like, oh well, the border's a mess. Okay. Like, that's not an impeachable offense. It's not. You have to point to specific things, not just outcomes, and they're unable to do that, and they know that they're unable to do that because there's not a real argument for it.
And because federal immigration law gives so much latitude, it's literally written that way. That's the problem. It's like he's not violating federal immigration law.
From Jamie, thank you for the donation. This donation is earmarked for an industrial grade potato masher.
Nice.
Which I appreciate. And from Kai, is it me or are Republicans getting dumber? I don't think it's you, Kai.
It's not you. That's so funny. This is awesome. You guys, this is awesome.
It's way better than GIFs. I like the messages.
I know. The messages are better than GIFs. Well, for my ADD, I like the pretty colors and things exploding on the screen. But yeah, the messages are way funnier.
Stress out about the gifts because I never see them, and then I miss them all. The smarter ones
you
keep
do look down a lot. You're always looking down.
I get I have to look away in order to keep my. It's a weird thing. Like, I have to keep my attention.
I have something to play you
by looking away.
I have something to play you. Okay, so last night on Rachel Maddow, she did a whole segment just shaming Trump about faking a union rally. It was so good.
This is unbelievable. how good
it is. Especially
yeah.
when you hear her explain it, it's just like, oh God. Like, she's the best at explaining corruption.
This is very embarrassing, right?
This is very
he's trying
embarrassing.
to look like he was supporting the union, but he's at a non-union facility that he filled with people who were given signs and effectively told to pretend to be union workers or even to pretend to be auto workers when they were no such thing. He did a fake event. I mean, the whole thing was fake. And then it was in the Detroit press the next day that it was fake. This you skipped the debate for? It was so embarrassing at the time. And now, as of right now, there are receipts. Literal receipts. The campaign finance filings that just came out for all the various campaigns. Reporter Jonathan Oosting at Bridge, Michigan dug in and found that on that day in September, the Trump campaign indeed paid a $20,000 rental fee to pay to rent that auto parts plant, which was not a union facility, so he could pretend it was full of union auto workers who supported him when it was actually just full of randos holding signs that said that's who they were, even though that's not who they were. It's just an amazing thing. I mean, you think of things that ended previous presidential campaigns, right? Howard Dean was too close to a microphone when he shouted with excitement after doing pretty well in the Iowa caucuses. Your campaign must end. You were too close to the microphone. Gerald Ford got lost in the middle of a sentence about Eastern Europe in a debate once. Poppy Bush said, "Read my lips," before he said no new taxes, which was like uncharacteristically memorable phrasing from him. And so people actually remembered it, which turned out to be really bad for him when the no new taxes thing didn't really work out. I mean, campaigns have been laid low by some dumb and small stuff. But here's a candidate faking a union event with fake union members and fake auto workers who were given signs by the campaign to falsely identify themselves in the hopes that no one would check. And then they got caught. And it's like, what else you got? Did he ever wear a tan suit?
I love Rachel Maddow. Exactly. Bob wears a tan suit. Never hear the end of it. It's so embarrassing. Meanwhile, he's literally faking rallies. And we're just like, oh, that's fine. This is the most dishonest man in election history, and nobody cares.
Tell me your campaign's going well if you spend $20,000 on a fake rally and you do such a poor job covering it up that literally everybody... We talked about this. The last... When he held the rally, we played the clips the next day, and we were like, this is a non-union company. Like, we knew about it. Everybody knew.
Oh, he also bought them. I looked at the campaign finance disclosures. He also bought them, just so you know, there was something in it for the fake auto workers. They did get a couple boxes of Domino's pizza. That was also
for Hot and Wild called Domino's.
He bought them some Domino's. It's on there too. How sad.
Trump runs his White House like call centers. Like, in order to reward the people, it's always some sort of fast food. Like,
I know.
We're not going to pay you more. We're not going to fix anything, but here's some fast food.
But we'll clog your arteries up. We'll shorten your lives. Heart failure is coming soon.
That's unbelievable. Let me check.
Rachel Maddow makes me feel sane. I will say, like, her Monday show is just like helps me like grip onto sanity, you know?
Yeah.
I wish Jen Psaki's show would like stagger with her so they weren't both on Monday, because like those two people literally keep me grounded.
I've never watched either of those shows, but
You've never seen Jen Psaki? Oh my God.
I see clips. You could not pay me to sit down and watch a political show for an hour.
Well, this is the thing. Well, yeah. Okay. But Jen Psaki is the best press secretary we've ever had. In my humble opinion. I mean, she is so perfect. As a person who worked in communications, like PR marketing, Jen Psaki, I don't think people fully grasp the amount of talent that woman has.
Okay. I mean, you can say that, but I saw Scaramucci, so...
Who's the person? Sean Spicer was a person.
I liked Mooch. Mooch was there for 3 days.
Remember Melissa McCarthy on SNL with the podium?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Like screaming. Sean Spicer is now like on what? Like News Nation, or is he on Newsmax? Sean Spicer has a show somewhere.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's still out there.
I thought he was OAN.
Scaramucci endorsed Biden yesterday, by the way. I didn't feel like playing the video. Yeah, he's all over. Scaramucci, Riggleman. Like,
that's a tough endorsement to accept.
I know. And so Biden put it on the Biden HQ handle. And I was just like, do we need this endorsement? Are we? But I do think it's important in a way. Like, I know a lot of people on the left feel like, oh, well, never Trumpers, like we shouldn't let them join us because they supported Trump. But at some point, I do think it's good that all these people who back Trump publicly renounce it.
Yeah. I think Sean Spicer's show might just be on his own website, by the way.
No, I swear to God, he might not have a show anymore. Like, I don't know why
I found it. It's called The Sean Spicer Show, and I'm on his website.
True. That's true.
And I'm not finding anything else saying like he's part of a different network. There's no.
That's hilarious.
It might just be Sean Spicer doing his things. He looks better. He looks better than he did before. Maybe just makeup. I'm not sure. Miss Julie is back. She sent a gift
from Key West.
I'm back and I didn't die. You miss me?
Okay.
We did, Miss Julie.
Did you get tan? I can't hear.
I can't hear.
I'm like, what? Guys, tap the screen. Let's get to 335K. We can do it. Tap, tap, tap. I know, I do. I really did miss Miss Julie, and I'm hoping that she has some good stories to tell us.
Well, she had a nightmare. Oh. She had some nightmare she got stuck at the airport for a while coming back.
Oh, God.
I don't remember exactly what happened.
I just want to point out, you know what? I do have something to say about that, because just so everyone, if everyone's wondering why we don't have a high-speed rail system, it's because Southwest Airlines and, United have been lobbying Congress for years to not push a high-speed rail system. And I think we all are realizing the airlines have failed us. I was looking at a commercial for Southwest where they're advertising slimmer seats. I'm like, how do the seats get any slimmer at this point? We can't do it.
If you thought your ass couldn't fit in the seat before, wait till you see our newer, slimmer seats. It's just a bar that rides right up your ass. You just sit on a bar now.
We should just buy each other's laps at this point.
The next one's just gonna be standing. It's gonna be like a bus.
Standing planes. Just hold on. Yeah, we need a high-speed rail system in this country. It's so bad. It's ridiculous.
This is from Grammar Hole. Thanks for the grammar lessons, Felice, today and every day.
Thank you.
And then in all caps, it's democratic.
Thank you so much, and I see you write that in the comments. I'm glad I have another person passionate about grammar.
Well done, my friend.
It's the same thing with Canada. Think about it like Canada and Canadian. Canadian is the adjective, right? If you say Canadian goose, you're describing the goose. Now, if you say Canada, that's the noun. That's a thing, a place. So Democrat is a noun, a person, or right? Democratic, like a democratic person. Now we're describing the person, which is an adjective.
This is that. What's that theory? Like the Bernstein Bears and Bernstein Bears. That's the theory. What is that theory called? Where
the Bernstein Bears? I haven't.
Where you think that it's something and it's not. Somebody get it in there. I love when RTP looks abused. Fuck you, Rug. Mandela effect. That's what it's called. Mandela effect. I think that's what it was, because when you told me that, I was like, no, you're wrong. And then I looked up the DNC and I was like, oh, I'm wrong.
But they are Canada geese. Yeah, exactly. We'll call them Canada geese. That's the same thing as them being like Democrat Party. It's like you're willfully not. I have to find the speech. Jamie Raskin gave a speech on the House floor, basically.
I remember he was talking to
Lauren Boebert and being like, "Hey, you're an idiot. This is an adjective."
Yeah, it was devastating.
And then Lauren Boebert's response was like, "We're not extreme MAGA, we're ultra MAGA." And he's just like, "No, you don't even understand what I'm talking about."
Thanks.
Poor Boebert. I don't think Boebert might make it into another Congress. Like, what are you thinking? Are
she
you
can
worried
run in
for
Arizona.
your girlfriend? Are you worried? Yeah. We got the shaman from J6 running in Arizona. Why not Lauren Boebert? Just bring them all in.
If your choices were Lauren Boebert and Andy Biggs,
That's a hard. Actually, I think I'd choose Lauren Boebert. Andy Biggs is smart enough. He's a lawyer. Yeah, we need to get rid of Andy Biggs for
like
sure.
Lauren Boebert,
I would take Lauren Boebert.
Yeah, you can just spin her around and she'll get lost. It's fine.
I bet you could. Bet you'd attend her monthly town halls.
Oh my God, I would be there in person. I would be there in person every day.
Front row seat.
I would do a lot of advocacy in this county.
Is that what we're calling it now? Outreach?
Yeah, outreach. It's not that, it doesn't reach out that far, but like I'll do
I do understand. I understand like the attraction to Lauren Boebert. Like I think a lot of people do. I do. I mean, I understand it, not personally. I don't also share it with you.
Are we competing now? Is that what's going on here? I don't want to compete with
for
you.
Caitlin Collins. Did you see when you were like, I like Caitlin Collins, and I became actually violently angry? I didn't even think of it. I love Caitlin Collins. She's amazing. I have clips of her. Oh, wait. Forget Caitlin Collins. We'll go to your other girlfriend, Alina Habba. She was saying some vile things last night. I mean, shocker. When is she not? But let's listen to Alina Habba support women, shall we? This is Alina Habba supporting women.
Is she not, real quick, before you play that, is she, like, can't E. Jean Carroll now go sue her? Like, is she opening herself up for litigation now?
I would pay money. Can we please bring a lawsuit against this one? Listen, wait till you have just no idea.
Did I get this right that she was initially awarded $5 million and they came back
for sexual assault? And then I want the world to remember something. We're in a planet where George Floyd got 40-something million. People that have wrongful death get 10 million. But this jury awarded for defamation for a sitting president to deny an allegation, to say, I didn't do that. I don't remember meeting this woman. And this actually works against sexual assault victims who are real victims. That's what his statement said. As a sitting president, he had to address the press. Then the other statement was on the lawn going, answering reporters. Again, he says, I did not do this. $83 million. $83 million. People die and get less.
Yeah.
It's Trump derangement syndrome and beyond.
Yeah. Man.
So, did you hear that? So she's saying that the only incidences that were adjudicated were him saying, oh, I never met her. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, how about every time you were in court, he's texting vile things about her, defaming her, and the findings of fact in the case?
Well, what she's saying is these are the things he said while he was president. Here's what she sued him for defamation for. And, of course, she said sexual assault. It was sexual abuse. She can have the word. Sorry, my mouth is watering.
Everyone keeps mixing. Yeah, everyone mixes it up.
But what she does this little game where she's like, these are the quotes that cost him $83 million. No, those are the quotes plus the sexual abuse that cost him $5 million. Everything that he got, every bit of that $83 million settlement came after the first case. Post the first case. There's no $83 million judgment if he just shuts the fuck up. It's still 5. It's just sitting there at 5. You can appeal it. So she knows this too. This is what's frustrating about Alina Habba and frustrating about MAGA.
Everything.
Yeah, like they will just lie right to your face, and the people that are interviewing them. And this isn't like an omission. This isn't like, oh, I'm spinning the facts. This is a goddamn lie. Like none of the 83 million had anything to do with what he said when he was president or what he did to E. Jean Carroll. That 83 million is because of what he did after he lost the case. Period. End of story. I don't understand how MAGA people are still taking her seriously. Looks like she may have lost her job as Trump's lawyer.
No, she didn't. I fact checked that. Like he's backtracked on that. Like she's not fired. Yeah, she's made herself indispensable. I think we can all agree that she's not technically fired.
Because he posted that he was looking for appellate attorneys. Right?
Google is Alina Habba fired, and then it will come. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I intake so much information every day. That it's hard to remember, but I'm pretty sure I remembered this being.
The other thing is Trump
says he's in. Okay.
Trump doesn't really fire people. That's one of the biggest myths about Trump. He became famous saying you're fired, but like historically he doesn't fire people.
He just said he's interviewing lawyers for the appeal. That's what happened, and then everyone took that to mean he said, we are hiring appellate firms, like for the appeal, which that's lawyers that specialize in the appeal. And then she denies that she's fired, which he's still, I guess technically she's still retained. She's one of his only lawyers getting paid. We saw that she's been paid. How much money is it? Like over just a few months?
Wasn't it 2 million?
Yeah,
a little over 2 million?
Something insane.
Trying to look at. Yeah, no, look, she's loyal. She'll be around Trump. She's pretty and she's loyal. That's all he really cares about. She's a terrible attorney. She is a historically bad attorney, and
she got paid but this is just a small period of time. So yeah, Alina Habba's firm paid 1.5 million by Donald Trump last year. Let's see for the 2023 to 2024 period. So she made 1.5 million.
I think the $2 million figure was including like appearance fees. I think it was how much she made.
And she also gets, it's not just legal fees, because she's basically a press agent. I mean, she's more a press agent than she is a lawyer at this point. Like, that's a separate job. She does a lot of things for Donald.
I tell you what, as much as I have a thing for the worst women possible, Alina Habba doesn't do it for me.
She doesn't? No,
not at all.
What is it about? That's so strange, because I would put in a category Alina Habba and Lauren Boebert together.
You know what I think it is? I think that Alina Habba knows better. I think that's really what it boils down to.
Oh yeah,
like Lauren Boebert is not intelligent. And so it's like I can give a little bit of leeway. Like, yeah, you're easily convinced. I'm not surprised that you're just repeating shit that Ted Cruz and Matt Gaetz are telling you. I'm not surprised by that. But Alina Habba should know better. I can handle stupidity.
Lying.
It's not your fault if you're dumb. But I can't handle like the blatant dishonesty is just kind of gross. Like when Lauren Boebert says something, everybody in the room laughs. Nobody takes her seriously. Nobody thinks she's credible. Her own party doesn't think she matters. They never put her up for like when it's time to really deliver a message.
But that's because Republicans hate women. Republicans devalue women at every turn. So of course. But I also think we can't overlook, like, you can't say that Lauren Boebert is harmless, because she has done so much damage to the LGBTQ community. Remember after there's that shooting at that nightclub in Colorado or wherever it was, and she was celebrate. I mean, she literally basically implied they deserved it. Like,
not harmless,
horrible.
Not harmless, dumb. Like she still it causes harm. Like you can still cause harm and be dumb, but I'm gonna have probably a little more latitude given to somebody who causes harm because they're dumb, rather than if they knew they were causing harm and they did it anyways.
Yeah, it's just hard for me with Lauren Boebert because she's done so much damage. Like she is dumb though. I'm not disputing.
I hate that I'm in a position where I sound like I'm like defending Lauren Boebert. She's an idiot. She's awful. She's terrible.
She is an idiot.
Don't ruin my joke. That's all I'm saying.
She's a giant idiot.
And I can fix her. I just need everybody to know I can fix her.
Oh, I wanted to say this, and I thought you would find this interesting. Let me click on this. So you know that so I don't know if you guys remember, our Arizona sheriffs we used to have Sheriff Joe, who put everyone in pink underwear and was like racially profiling every Mexican.
Yeah, where you could just pull somebody over if they were Mexican.
Because if they're brown, and it was like legal. Yeah, well, Paul Penzone, who is a much better, he's a Democratic sheriff, and he retired, or just kind of in the middle of his term quit. So immediately when he quit, two people changed parties, because they're going to appoint an interim sheriff now in Arizona, and two Republicans immediately switched parties, and then there's one other Democrat competing. So today, Maricopa County Board will interview the three finalists for interim sheriff after Democrat Paul Penzone's resignation. Skinner and Kirkham switched from Republican to Democrat after Penzone quit, and then Valenzuela is actually a Democrat. So Patrick Valenzuela Sr., cross your fingers, or we might be going back to Sheriff Joe era. Like, we cannot have another Republican sheriff. Like, You guys don't know what happened in this state.
Oh, it was insane. Yeah, if you don't know, Sheriff Joe basically put out this rule that just somebody appearing to be an illegal immigrant, you could pull them over. Like, that was enough to pull them over. And the courts ruled against that because obviously you can't do that. That's
Oh yeah,
just
and
like
Tent City. Yeah, that was Joe.
Yeah, textbook racism. And Sheriff Joe said, no, I'm going to do it anyways. And then, while Sheriff Joe should be sitting in prison, he got pardoned by President Trump. And just another great...
I wonder if he paid for that pardon or if it was free.
I don't. That's a good. Well, I think he wanted Sheriff Joe to campaign for him. Remember, Sheriff Joe was out campaigning for him, and Sheriff Joe was really popular in like old white communities. They loved him.
They love him.
Yeah, the tent city thing they loved. They're putting people in pink underwear, and also like they were outside in the conditions, and there was like multiple times people had to be hospitalized for heat stroke. Yeah. They sexual assault allegations, they weren't reporting them. They weren't sending them to authorities. They weren't prosecuting. They would do nothing to stop these people being abused in prison. I had a soccer teammate that had to go there for a DUI. And
he terrorized Arizona, brown people in Arizona for years and years. And I just wanted to point out, that's up for grabs. So we'll soon have a new sheriff, which I'm always shocked how much control sheriffs have in Arizona.
Yeah, we were careful about when we would go to Yuma. There were 2 players on our team that their legal status in this country was, let's just say, up for debate. And when we would go to Yuma, we wouldn't take them. They just couldn't play in that game. They said no
because you're too close to the border. Yeah.
Well, they would stop our bus every time, and they would ask anybody who, like my other friend, would get ID'd every time. He was I think his family was Pakistani, and he's from Canada. And then he's down here playing, and they're just like, "You're Mexican." He's like, "No, not
they
even
don't.
close."
There's no distinction. Or Sheriff Joe thought everyone from south of the border was a Mexican. Like it didn't. He could not fathom that there were different countries south of here. It's just everybody was. God, it was so bad. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about. What do you make?
Last one because it's 1 o'clock. Let's do one more.
I'm sorry. We don't have to.
No,
I just want to talk about Tucker Carlson.
Yes.
What's he doing in Russia? What do you reckon? The Russian state media is
gagging, probably.
Literally. They're saying he's breaking the internet, and Russian state media he's like they're loving him. They're like following him around, like videoing him.
He's been called they refer to him as Russia's greatest advocate. They refer to him as what do they say? The second best. What do they say? The second best. Maybe they said second best advocate besides Donald Trump or something like that. Like, if you're loved in Russia, and this is now if you go to Twitter, like we're like Republicans are just flat out pro-Russia, which is batshit crazy. But this is going to be a puff piece by Tucker Carlson, and he's probably getting paid a lot of money to do this. And you're going to see in the next 2 weeks, and you'll see it today. When does the interview come out?
Well, I don't know. So no, it doesn't. They just said like he was leaving like Putin's administration area. They just have they're just following him around Russia, but no one's exactly sure. But this is what's going around on Twitter is
while you're doing that. While you're doing that, can we just point out like this guy Tucker Carlson? He was the one like, oh no, MAGA's not working with Russia.
That's what I'm going to play.
Oh, okay.
In recent days, McCall has told a number of people that this show is an organ of Russian disinformation. In other words, not only are we wrong, which is fine, we are disloyal Americans. We're doing the bidding of a foreign power. That is not fine. That is slander. Unlike Michael McCall, we are only and narrowly interested in the interests of our own country. That would be the United States, where we were born and where we plan to die. We don't care what the Russian government says. We only care what the United States does and what our future looks like because we have children here. But what's in...
Yeah, okay, Tucker. Okay, while you're worshiping at the feet of Putin, whatever.
I think what makes Tucker dangerous is that Tucker has no real principles. Yeah. He's just simply an opportunist, and he recognizes now, like, his place is different on the right. His place is on the extremes. And he recognizes his audience is relatively pro-Russia. This is huge for him. That's the dangerous part about Tucker, is that he will say and do things that he doesn't mean. We'll never know if he means them, but he's simply just an opportunist. And like, can you imagine, like, why are we whitewashing Vladimir Putin? There's a war right now where he invaded another country. Do you think Tucker's going to ask tough questions? I hope I'm wrong. I hope this interview comes out and it's Tucker and him battling it out, and Tucker asks him tough questions. But what do you think the chances of that happening are? I will come on. Yeah, I will go live, and I will watch Fox News for 24 straight hours, and I'll broadcast it live if Tucker Carlson does a tough interview on Vladimir Putin. Like, I'll do it for 24 straight hours. There's no.
Do you remember his last interview with Trump at Mar-a-Lago? And it was so like, and Tucker had to go like tail between his legs and like crawl back to Donald Trump after the J6 stuff had come out, and Tucker had been trashing Donald Trump in text message, and then he had to go to Mar-a-Lago and give this ridiculous interview where he just basically, rolled over and said whatever Trump wanted, and he looked like he wanted to die the whole time. That's what I'm picturing.
I mean, he hates everything about these people, but he loves power. He loves attention.
He loves money. Yeah.
He loves money. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Let me do one more check on the gifts. Make sure I got everybody.
You guys, thank you so much. Today was such a fun day. Like I was very worried about my mental state yesterday, and like this has been really fun, and you guys have helped cheer me up.
I don't know if it's Renee or Reen, R-E-N-E, says thanks for the feet pics, Jay. And call Felice Manford. Those are Jake's feet. Those are not my feet, but it is my fault for bringing Jake into the Discord. That's on me. Thanks for the feet pics, Jay, and call Felice Ma'am for us. Ma'am, it was a terrific day. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Renee. Okay, guys, have a great day. We will see you all tomorrow.
Stay cute and cool. Have a great summer.